Alright. Number 9, adjournment of executive session.
Make a motion, we adjourn executive session.
Have a motion, have a second? Full second. Motion and a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Fine, 6:50.
Alright, now what point do I do this for? Right here. Alright, do I have a motion to have the town attorney respond to the legality lawyer over the letter sent?
I make a motion, we approve for Tom to respond to the letter from legality representatives.
Have a motion, do I have a second? Second. Motion and a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye, motion approved. Number 10, Department of Union City Code Enforcement. Oh, we can do.
You get an update from Vanessa with OU. They're working on finalizing the report now. We can have it within 2 weeks. And her recommendations.
Are they gonna come and present, or will they just send us a report, you know?
Right now, they're sending this report unless you request it to the next meeting.
I am trying to find.
Would you like OU to be at the next meeting to present that, or at least
Yeah.
review it with us?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
And what she's referring to is our, comprehensive plan. We've been working with the University of Oklahoma to create a new comprehensive plan that will eventually be turned over to, an actual firm that will help us complete that. The last one was done in
2004.
2004, okay.
2004 is the last
Okay.
zoning that we did. And it wasn't complete.
Yeah.
Just before my time.
Alright, any other questions on code enforcement? Okay,
Just
moving on.
FYI, we did complete the abatement for the property.
Awesome.
And they have taken over. Thank you.
10A, Planning Commission meeting minutes. Consideration possible approval, denial, amendment, or revision and acceptance of Planning Commission meeting minutes from April 25th, 2024. Do I have a motion to accept Planning Commission meeting minutes?
I'll make a motion, we approve 10A Planning Commission meetings from April 25th, 2024.
Have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye, motion approved. 10B, rezoning application. Consideration of possible approval, denial, amendment, revision, and acceptance of rezoning application for Hiawassee 80. I have some people that would like to speak. We're gonna start with Jake Johnson, maybe?
Jacob Johnson.
I don't need to talk on that one. I thought I needed to sign up because I'm gonna have to talk on the next one.
Oh, okay.
Me and Joe do not have to talk about that one, thank you.
That's the first time I've ever seen him not be able to talk.
I was like, man, nobody's standing up.
Can we do this?
Alright, Dan McGolly. You have 3 minutes.
Jeff, can you make sure Tracy gets a copy of the back? If someone else needs a copy, they can share it.
Well, I'm over here by myself.
I've been going over some of the city code, the code book, and when we pass these ordinances, there's some verbiage in there. And it says, an emergency is hereby declared, and on this one, it would show the same thing. It says, an emergency is hereby deemed and declared to exist whereby it is necessary for the preservation of the public health, safety, and welfare to the inhabitants of the County of Union City, Canadian County, Oklahoma. I want you to keep that statement in mind as we go over this.
What's the site for that, Mr.?
That's on all the ordinances that we pass. It's in part, on every one that passes for rezoning, it's under an emergency. But this is a map, and this is kinda like a hazard map. So you'll see the red shaded in there, that's a 150-foot easement. That's a 345 kV electric line. That's 345,000 volts. That's 27 times what your normal power is outside of your house. So you see a high line wire out in front of your house, that's around 12.5. The orange line represents a 125 kV line, so that's 10 times what's outside your house. And then in this particular neighborhood, where they intersect, the 125 kV lines actually have to drop down lower. I'm the kid that had his kite. I had all sorts of stuff stuck in these power lines. You're gonna put a whole bunch of kids in this neighborhood, and I'm the kind of kid that would have had the 30 by 50 tarp wrapped up around these things. And these are no joke. I mean, you wrap them up around just a 12.5 kV line, and it's a big deal. On top of that, if we have some sort of ice storm or emergency tornado, this neighborhood, that 125 kV line, our fire department's not set up to handle that sort of line. If it falls, it's gonna leave all these residents trapped on the north side of it. There's no access when we coming off of Banner. What do we do if we have a tornado come through there? The line's still hot, emergency personnel can't get into the north side of this. On the yellow, that's a wellhead. There's a oil site right there. If somebody just come into this town and they want to drill a hole in the ground, they have to be 350 feet from any residence. On this lot, there's 8 on this plat. There's 8 lots. There's no possible way you can even build a house on the plat, on the lot, I mean, without being within 350 foot of the wellhead. I mean, if it's good enough that we need to keep the drilling guys away from the house, surely we need to keep the houses away from the hole that's already pre-existing.
Not a producing well, is that what you're saying?
It is. It's not abandoned and it hasn't been closed in, so it's still considered a well. It's an active well.
My question is it a producing well?
I don't know how much is produced, but a well's still a well unless they've abandoned it and filled it full of concrete.
Does that have a pump jack on it?
It does not have a pump jack on it. But if somebody wants to come in and put a pump jack on it, they could potentially do that. They sell those all the time. When we get down to the purple on the map, under our code, they're supposed to have adjacent gas lines on this map. They don't have it, but this purple represents, and I think it's an enable line, but it's a 12-inch line. It's 960 PSI. It feeds the Horseshoe Power Plant over in Harris. It's been there since 1968. That's a long time.
It's coming off of that well, so that well is...
No. This is just a transmission line.
Okay.
That line represents the potential impact radius of that line is where if there's an explosion, they say if you're outside of that line, you have 5 seconds to just make a decision to start moving, and you have to start moving at 5 miles an hour at least 25 seconds, and if you seek shelter within 200 feet, you have a 99% survivability rate. It only nips the corner of those properties, but it needs to be talked about.
Okay.
Then we come down to the water issue. Everybody can see how much, all that water, it's either in the flood zone or it's a pond on that. There's no water runoff plan for this plat. According to our city book, the 12-2-4C10, the preliminary plat shall contain the location of all drainage canals and subsurface drainage structures, and the proposed method of disposing of all runoff from the proposed subdivision, and the location and the size of all drainage easements relating thereto, whether they are located within or outside the proposed plat.
All right.
He has some culvert pipes that go across, but that's it.
Let's let him have an opportunity to respond to this.
Is he gonna cut into my 3 minutes?
You're already well over.
He can have my 3 minutes if he needs more time.
You wanna use his?
I'll use John's. This proposed plat is gonna have private roads. According to the code book, 12-3-2, subsection M2, page 165, The property abutting the private roadway shall contain not less than 2 acres. There's plenty of these that are less than 2 acres. Since there's a lack of city sewer out there, in the code book of Union City, 11-7-2 subsection L, page 153, under area requirements for dwellings not served by a sanitary sewer system approved by the State Health Department shall have lot areas not less than 2.5 acres. It's pretty clear, it's already in the code book, this stuff, it's already in the books, it's not the extra stuff that we're asking for. I'm giving this to you as an opportunity. I wanna see y'all vote this down, and that'll buy us 12 months, and I wanna get this comprehensive plan finished, and I want us to get our stuff together when it comes to development on these plats, and I want us to grow Union City in a proper way.
Yeah.
Thank you for your time.
Yeah.
Tracy, would you like to respond?
Sure. First of all, I know some of you, this is your first time to attend a meeting, and just want
Walk off route so we can hear you.
Please.
Please. Whatever you say, sir.
Thank you.
You want me to face this one?
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you, Chair.
So, thank you for the opportunity to be here. So, I am a member of Hiawassee 80, the landowner, and just a little background information. I'm a 50-50 partner with Mike Shaddix in Blue Ribbon Construction, and I've shared with this board and others in previous meetings that Blue Ribbon is would be the builder if we were given the opportunity to build in your community. I have a partner currently in Hiawassee 80. We would sell the land to Mike Shaddix and his son Brett. I think that's important for you to know as a community because they would have a vested interest in building these homes that would be $300,000 to $500,000. They would own the land, plus they would build the proposed 100+ houses. Blue Ribbon has built, Mike in his career has built hundreds and hundreds. I'm sure you're familiar with Mr. Mike Shaddix. He's built hundreds and hundreds of homes. Currently, we're building about 100 homes a year. We've got a gravel road community in Tulloch. We build in Stillwater, McLeod, Shawnee, Deer Creek, Edmond, and really an incredible product. And also, there's been people in the town that have communicated at these meetings their desire to be a homeowner of Blue Ribbon Construction. So I'm very biased, but I would definitely try to communicate that the product that they build, if you guys don't want Blue Ribbon Construction in your community, you're making a big mistake. And that's your decision, your choice. Let me get to some of the specifics that you brought up, specifically on the water and the drainage. So in the many, many thousands of acres that we've developed, I was a school teacher by education, not trying to be prideful, but been blessed to be around real estate for 25 years. Personally, I've bought over 50,000 acres of land. We've done a lot, and so I've been very, very blessed. I would say in these rural communities, typically the engineering isn't required to do specific drainage studies, and those are the things that we've been discussing. That's like
Our code book calls for it.
okay, and that's your prerogative, and I'm here requesting the opportunity to build in your community, and it looks like we might get shut out, and props to you guys if that's your desire, but in an acreage community with gravel roads, there's not going to be in 100 houses a situation where, by law, I'm not an engineer, I could bring an engineer to a previous meeting. You can't have more water leave the site than historical. So that is a fact. But the 100 houses, I would need an engineer to speak to that. If we need detention, many times it runs into a creek in the existing. Ironically, as you pointed out in this exceptional photo, there's a large floodplain where the water is historically going. So, I mean, we could what if it to death in terms of power lines and accidents and kites. The reality is, you know, none of us know the day or hour when we're going to leave this earth, and you know, we could what if. But if you have any questions, I'll try to leave it at that.
All right, Amanda Legale.
Oh, okay. All right, guys. So, first of all,
all, thank you for letting me speak. I appreciate all you guys being up here. Secondly, I'm sad that I have to be here. I'm sad that this is the issue that we have to deal with in this town. I'm sad that we don't have a better standard for our community, and that we're not trying to make sure we adhere to the current code. We all know that Union City's changing. I am not against the change personally. I am against making sure, I am for this being done right, so that the residents that are currently here, which you guys work for, are represented, or they are considered, and not just the future taxpayer or property owners or people who are gonna pack a school, not just those future residents in that subdivision. Because there are other people that are gonna be affected by this, other than the subdivision. There's several problems with this. First of all, that I personally have seen is there is a need for an ingress and egress traffic study. If both exits are onto Highway 152, it seems only right that there would be a study done to ensure that the traffic isn't gonna back up there, have something to provide us with some security, that there's a plan in place to handle the traffic. I would like to see a turn lane put in by the developer if needed. That's up to you guys to be able to mandate those things. A site-specific hazard assessment, I would really prefer that be done simply because this is dangerous to the people moving into this community. This is not about us. This is dangerous for them, and we're worried about that. There's no current growth development plan for this town. I understand you were saying that, she was saying in 2 weeks that y'all would have that new OU plan. There's not a current one in place at this time, correct? Am I wrong?
Correct.
There is, but it's
just outdated.
it's outdated. Okay, so it's not,
20 years.
it's not
She
current
said,
to
what,
today.
2004,
Where is it though? I asked this morning and she pointed to a picture on the wall. Is that
that's
what?
how outdated it is.
That is our development plan, that picture
Yeah.
on, it's just a
That's
zoning
a
map.
zoning
Correct.
map.
So we don't actually have a development plan from 2008.
It's not a development, it's a comprehensive plan, just basically structuring where, the concept or idea of where we would, as a community, prefer residential,
it on
agriculture. Huh?
Is it on paper?
There is an old drawing in here that's well over 20 years old, it's a large poster that sits on the wall.
But the written one was what, 1983?
Yeah, the written one, yeah, 1982, yeah.
Okay, so, regardless of when this was written, it's not current, number one. Number two, we're trying to rezone this property 5 miles out of Union City proper in the hopes to attract people and businesses and all kinds of activities to this town. Personally, if I'm leaving Banner Road, I am not gonna come to Union City to buy a higher priced gas than go to Mustang. I'm not coming to Union City to buy groceries. I'm going to Mustang. We're building a subdivision that is going to provide the town of Mustang with more business. And with all the liabilities that we are gonna be having. So, fourth, the school is already overwhelmed. I know that this is an issue for a lot of people, that a lot of people wanna push for a new school to be built, a new bond to be passed. Yep.
That's from the principal, or superintendent, sorry, today, they're ready.
Would anyone like me to run over the stats real quick? Because it is an issue that numerous people have brought up. And so I reached out to our incoming superintendent to ask that question, kind of what our growth potential is. If let's say there was 1 student per house, what kind of timeline? And that is a question that came up, Tracy, was like what you thought the timeline would be on how many houses built per year, roughly?
I think on the high side, high side would be 24, realistically, I think 15 to 20 a year.
Okay, So we're looking, just off that, let's assume there's one student per house. We all know that in houses that size, there could be 2 or 3 students in those houses. We also know there could be retirees, it's a lot of what ifs, right? This is from her, I'll read it quickly. It says, current facility rooms available for additional classrooms. The elementary school has 2 empty classrooms they're not currently utilizing. Intermediate school has 0, and the high school has 2 empty classrooms they're not currently utilizing. They had discussed previously that if needed, the Tiger's Den could be converted with construction to hold an additional 4 classrooms. The current student capacity without adding teachers, which they have room right now to add 4 additional teachers with those 4 classrooms. Pre-K through 2nd grade is currently full with waiting lists for those ages. If the wait list grows to a financially responsible amount, approximately 15 students on the waiting list per grade, we can split up to 4 classes in current facilities across the campus. So they could add those 4 additional classrooms based on what grade needed it if they had 15 people on the current waiting list. This is not on what she said, but I just want to reiterate for those that may not have kids in today's time, but under the new laws that Governor Stitt has signed in, you're allowed to transfer your students anywhere you want to transfer them to. As long as that school has the capacity to hold your students, they're supposed to accept your students. The only, so what they do is, I think it's June 1st, someone tell me if I'm wrong, on June 1st, the schools have to post how many students they have available for each classroom or each age group, and then, go ahead.
Actually, on the school website, it is updated monthly.
Monthly,
That's
okay.
what our class sizes are.
Class
and
size, so it's
what our
monthly, okay.
availability is.
Okay, so they post the availability, and then if they have room, they accept those transfers. This is another what if, in my personal opinion. I believe that over time, we're going to see our school districts competing more and more and more for our students, and I picture that at some point, we as taxpayers will be able to choose where we want that taxpayer money to go to. Whether that happens in my lifetime, I don't know. That's what I think a lot of people, just basing that off the stuff that I read, would like to see it go to. So, in my personal life, for sporting reasons and things like that, I've obviously been very committed to this community for 16 years now. But just this year, I have two of my children that are going to be transferring to Minco for the simple fact of them having access to sporting opportunities and extracurricular activities that they don't currently have access to here. My oldest student will continue here at Union City High School. But schools are seeing more and more of that. We have students that are transferring from other towns to here, for their reasonings and vice versa. And so, I don't know how many, do you know roughly how many we currently have as far as transfers from, for instance, Mustang alone right now that are in Union City? I mean, it's got to be over 20, I would think.
The last number that I had heard, which was a while back, was over 30%.
Yeah, so over 30% of our school right now doesn't even live within our community. They are transferred from other school districts to our school district, and believe it or not, a lot of that is because of our baseball and basketball opportunities here in Union City, because those schools get so big that there are kids and people that get left out of those programs because they too are at capacity and don't have room. So those students then transfer to our community. So just based off this, right? I'll go ahead and finish what she said real quickly. So pre-K obviously full 20 of 20, kindergarten 20 of 22. They technically have room for 2 right now. First grade is over. They have 25 of 22. Second grade is 22 of 22. And then starting here in the 3rd grade, they have room for 3 students. 4th grade has room for 6. 5th grade has room for 3. 6th grade has room for 12. 7th grade has room for 12. 8th grade has room for 18. 9th grade has room for 9, 10, 11, 12. 10th grade has room for 3. 11th grade has room for 10. And 12th grade has room for 4. So are some of the classes full? Yes. Are some of them, do they have additional capacity? Yes. It's based off rough math here, and not even counting the 4 additional teachers. There's about 2 years of this development project of space for students to attend Union City. If they added teachers and opened up them other 4 classrooms, we're between 3 and 4 years into this development project that our current school could hold capacity-wise. That's the best I know how to do as far as bringing you guys a real answer to that school question.
Do they give a time frame on the school? Are they going
forward? So they're in the, so don't hold me to this. I think they cannot run try to pass a bond the same year as a presidential election. Is that correct?
It'll have to be in the spring.
So it'll have to be in the spring. They are actively working on a plan to bring a new school through a bond to the town of Union City. And I don't know what all currently that they're including in that, I don't know if there's anybody here that can elaborate on that. Because they haven't officially brought any drawings out. They've brought in teachers, they've included outside sources, superintendents, administrators, and it kind of they laid out on a huge table and kind of gave a wish list of everything that the staff and people would like to see. And then they're working that into an actual drawing of what they think that the community can afford. And then they're gonna move, you know, next year, I assume, with a bond issue. I'm sorry?
It'll go to a vote in the spring?
It will go to a vote.
So we won't know
correct.
about a new school until next spring,
That's correct, yeah. So again, and that, again, it comes down to voter support. I can actively say, you know, some of y'all don't agree with my opinions, I actively believe wholeheartedly that we have to put some time, effort, money, and energy back into this community. When I came on board with this thing 4 years ago, it blew my mind how paycheck to paycheck this community was. I don't feel in any of our counts right now that we live that way anymore. We have money saved up, we have money, you know, available. We feel like there's some storms ahead of us that we're preparing for. The economy's tough. We're trying to take all those things into account. Those of you that want to stay late, we're going to have our budgetary conversations, but actively our school can support 3 to 4 years of this development project, and that's quite a bit of time to plan.
Is that if it starts building right now?
Yes, and it's not going to. I mean, obviously, we got more stuff to do, but, yeah, you mean, no, the school in its current stance, if we don't build any new building.
No, if we built a new school.
Yeah, if we build a new school.
When would it be done?
Huh?
When would it be done? Before 4 years?
That's between you and the school, I don't know.
Yeah, that's
Well, that's what I'm
between
saying.
voters and the
The
school.
point I'm
From the time
making-
the bond issue was passed
We
on,
don't
for
know.
instance, the last update.
You don't know.
You know,
Nobody
it's a
knows.
bunch of what ifs, but it's, you know,
Right.
with the previous bond that was passed, it was what, 3 years, 4 years for them to get it to completion, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you would be cutting it pretty close there.
I think it's realistically, best case scenario would be a 5-year project, I think realistically it's 6 to 8. And I do think it's important, I don't know that maybe somebody in this room knows the exact ad valorem percentage, but, you know, this could easily be a $40 to $50 million project based on the assessed value of the homes. So at 1%, you know, it's $400,000 to $500,000 a year, and as somebody shared, not every house will have, school-age children, but yes, they will be paying ad valorem taxes that ultimately, you know, support the school. But to answer your question, I would say minimum 5, but more than likely 6 to 8 years.
All right, did you have anything more on your list?
Yes, I do, actually. Recently I understood at a meeting that I attended that there would be across the board budget cuts of about 30%, to the town. But we're gonna, assuming we approve this and rezone it and they get the building, 30% cuts, but we're gonna add 15% population. I think that speaks for itself. As far as demands, and
There has to
I'm
be
asking
demand in a
that-
hostage situation.
hey, I'm pretty sure not everybody's comfortable about sitting here, I know. So, I would love to see a city-owned park donated by the developer that would mean that no registered sex offender could live within 2,000 feet of that park. That's one thing I would like to see happen. And I am very sure that very many of people in the community would agree. In response to the school issue, I would say, ask the teachers how they would feel about it.
How many teachers did we lose this year? Going into next year?
And how many teachers can't we can't fill seats whenever they're on sick leave.
We
or
lost a lot of
whatever.
good teachers this year, going into next year.
I would also love to see, these are just my personal thoughts here, I would love to see a centrally located community storm shelter, or a stipulation that 50% of the homes, so every other home built, has a builder installed storm shelter, so that these 120 or however, that was the last number I was given, was 120 plus homes, that those residents in those homes aren't driving 5 miles to get to the storm shelter here, if it's open and they can fit in it, because that's gonna be a lot of people. I'd
We
also,
don't have a storm shelter here.
what's the storm shelter that you open? The school storm shelter.
Safer than.
It's not a storm
It's not
shelter,
a storm
safer.
shelter.
Oh, okay, well,
Safer than it's.
so then, that they don't have to drive 5 miles in a tornado to get to the
Yeah.
safer than state.
Absolutely.
Now I got another thing on my list to go for, okay.
Call it what you want, it's still damn storm shelter.
Yeah,
Call what
going
you
out
want.
to
You
no
could see
shelter,
daylight out of
I'd
it
rather
until
die in a
after.
tornado.
No, you wouldn't.
City maintained and controlled storm sirens for that subdivision. This is, of course, if this passes. And not if this passes. This is, I think this should be mandated and required by the town before this passes. For
So the
rezoning.
issue is everything that you're bringing up are phenomenal ideas, phenomenal.
Mhm.
But they're all issues that are handled when it goes to the subdivision committee. It comes to us for rezoning.
Correct.
At that point, it goes to the subdivision committee. The subdivision committee takes your concerns and they place them back into their plan of how they want it to be done.
Mhm.
Your husband will probably be in on that.
Then that, I'm gonna speak to that, because I sat 7 years on the planning committee. And I can say that when, in the previous past, when we passed stuff, you can make those decisions right now, when you make the determination for rezoning, you say it right now, because like when we did the lot up here that Apache owns, it's the grassland, we set what they could do prior to coming in, and we said when they rezoned it, you rezone it to what it can be, and you can say exactly what it is right now.
And then the board says different.
And then you say, you can do it right now.
It sounds like it's kind of backwards, like you should
It is
do
backwards.
your requirements first.
You can set, you
If
set
the
it right now.
requirements are met, then
You can do it right now.
There's two separate, I just wanna make sure everyone understands there's two separate things. There's planning commission, which is what you served on. What we're referring to here is the subdivision committee.
Right.
And those are two separate things.
But you can make these things, when you rezone it right now, the board can make those decisions and say, when we rezone this, we want to, if they're gonna rezone it to housing, you can make those decisions now.
Also, I have a
The
question.
board has the executive over
Authority.
everything.
You have the power
over
to
the
do that.
planning and the.
Because we have done it.
Period.
Well,
Period.
Also, realistically,
But,
this has already been through the
excuse me,
subdivision committee.
The city code, of Union City is really, an advanced code.
It's
It really
vague.
is. Pardon me?
It's vague.
No, it's not.
no. It's
Yeah,
really
you-
better now.
Yeah.
Clark, you can,
Yeah, but you can make those, yeah,
But you,
That we need to follow them.
yeah, I have.
the land subdivisions portion, Title 12,
Yeah, but
and the call for the subdivision review committee, the members that are made up of that committee, and the requirements that they can impose on someone, for a development.
Right,
And
but they can make
ultimately,
it that.
excuse me, sir, I'm speaking, and ultimately, the planning commission would approve that, and the board would approve that, after it goes through this committee process. So those items are all items, and as the mayor said, these are great ideas that you have, ma'am, but
Mhm.
they're all ideas that can be addressed and dealt with, through the committee.
Okay. To that point, this has already gone through the subdivision committee once.
No, it hasn't.
No, it hasn't.
This,
The planning commission, that's what I was trying to explain. There's two things, there's planning commission.
this hasn't been addressed by the subdivision committee.
No, they
Y'all
haven't.
haven't had a meeting at the
No.
fire department about this?
That was the beginning
Of this?
of all of it.
yeah,
Yeah.
So,
That was the
at
very
that
first
time,
meeting.
it could have been talked about.
yeah.
It's gone through the subdivision committee once, to be fair. This idea, the talks about this, the subdivision development has gone through the subdivision committee once. It's gone through the planning commission once, and we're now here at city council.
Exactly.
which means you
Didn't
can
you already
make that,
have the subdivision
which you means you can make that decision.
What recommendation?
Yeah, you
If
can.
they had any, shouldn't the subdivision already
Yeah.
looked at this and then you guys decide whether we're changing
Yes,
anything?
you
It
can.
comes to us for zoning. It goes through the zoning process, then it goes back to the subdivision committee. At that point, they take all of these concerns, they put together the whole plat, we'll get a whole different plat than what's sitting here right now. At that point, it'll have all of the recommendations from the subdivision committee. It will come back to the board, and that's whenever we make a decision, do all these things need to be put in, or do they not? But until that happens, this is just cow pasture. There's nothing that we can't say, you can't do this, this, and this to a pasture, because it's agricultural. Once it is R1A, it's a residential, it's set up for residential, then we can say, yes, these things are legit, they need to be handled, this is what needs to be put in, this is what needs to be added, this is the roads, this is the power line offsets, this is the gas well, this is the waterways, the whole 9 yards, all of it. Once it comes back from the subdivision committee saying, we want all these things, then it comes to us, and then we enforce it from there.
Does the zoning revert back if he doesn't agree to those terms?
Yeah, what holds the builder to those terms if we rezone it and then we're like, never mind?
He can't build anything.
It's already zoned at that point, so.
It's-
He can't get a build, but we have to issue the building permit.
Yeah, building
So you guys
permit.
can legally withhold building permits
Sure.
off of the
Because
the
he's
demands
doing
you guys
his
are
job,
wanting
we
to do
can
here?
hold the permit.
Because we have an ordinance that provides for this committee that comes up with these various items, that are required, and if he doesn't comply with the requirements, then.
So it'll revert back to ag land at that point.
No,
You have to
it'll always be zoned residential.
It'll always be there.
You could have it.
So why would we wanna rezone something to?
If we can't
If
guarantee
we can't
that it's
guarantee
gonna happen.
that he's gonna wanna do those things that you guys are talking about.
What would it matter for it to stay zoned residential?
Then why would you wanna put it in such a dangerous area?
We're not.
It would put an undue burden on the surrounding landowners, because technically we would have to maintain our grass within 150, if we have grass up to the fence, 150 feet into the agricultural land, they could require us to keep our grass cut below 12 inches. It's in the code book. So there's essentially 9 acres that we're gonna have to maintain out there to stay in compliance to our current codes.
Based
Alright.
on a zoning that may not
I'm
even
gonna have
work.
to move to the next person, I'm gonna give that 10.
Thank you guys.
You can have mine.
Would you?
What's your
is
name,
that
ma'am?
okay?
Julie Howard?
Okay.
Okay, I understand what you guys are saying, that you're saying that it needs to go back through these other committees and all of those things. My issue with this is that it has already gone through these committees and these things haven't been addressed at all. So, here's the problem with that, is that we're now to this point and everybody's finally like, oh, there's some issues here. So let's address them. Let's address them and get this done right. Don't let it go back to the same committees and
That's exactly
that
what
are
we're
not.
trying to do, is to do it right. We're trying to do it the way that it's written in that book. That's exactly what we're doing.
Sounds great. We can just.
Yeah, if it's done in accordance to that book, that sounds like a great plan.
Okay. All right.
Can you all clarify the codes that he had talked about? What
The
exactly
code
were those?
sections that he's citing are the ones in section 12, which are those requirements.
Of 2 acres, is that what you guys are saying?
All the various items that he has addressed are addressed in, for example, descriptions of the roadways, alleys, streets, lot sizes, all those types of things are items that are contained within the Title 12, in the ordinances, Section 12 in the ordinances. And they come up with a preliminary plat, then a final plat that will have those requirements in it.
That is our preliminary plat right there, isn't it?
That's a plat so that you have a general idea of what this fellow is interested in doing.
So what's the term for that plat?
Tracy, what would you call that plat? The name to be determined edition.
Preliminary plat.
Is that your preliminary plat?
Sure, I mean,
That's
I would
preliminary.
say that, again, we're here for, my understanding, we're here for a zoning request, and in essence, it may be headed towards something what's called a PUD, a planned unit development, with the many things that you're requesting of this specific parcel. So, I mean, you could have a residential zoning, but yet within that, you would have to, the landowner would have to meet the requirements of how it's spelled out. If there's going to be a variance, then many times you come back and request that variance, and we'll do something called like development.
But this is your preliminary plat.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, my
Does
understanding.
your preliminary plat, I'm sorry, I hate to.
Go ahead, go ahead.
Does your preliminary plat account for the wellhead? Does it account for, oh, there's a lease road there.
That's the plat I got at the planning committee, so.
Okay. The power lines, how all that's gonna be handled?
It definitely accounts for the power lines, and you'll see that, there was, thought in how it was laid out, and we've, done numerous subdivisions, I say numerous, I know we've done a couple that back up to major power lines. I'm thinking of one on 104th and Rockwell and Council and Moore Schools. There's a high line that split that property. We've had several over the years. Specifically to the well aspect, you know, we would file that plat regardless. Obviously, if there is a rule that would prohibit or not allow a residence to be built within that circumference, we're going to abide by it and have to. But we've had situations, I'll go back to, I'm thinking of a subdivision in Logan County on Kelly, 2006, where we platted around, created a lot around a well that was actually had a pump jack, but yet later it became a lot. I can think of another one at Portland and Waterloo, just west on the north side. So we would plat it. Obviously, if there are rules that would hinder or not allow, then we're going to abide by that. But someday it may not, it may be possible.
All highline wires has easements, because I have two of them going across, which crosses his property. The newest one that is put in is a 100-foot easement. You cannot do anything in it but farm it. And that's it. The giant line that crosses our place and his, it's 150 foot. So you cannot put a house near that, within 150 foot. So from the center of that, there will be 75 foot each side before you even put a lot on it.
To be fair, he did put them all on the backside of the lot, all the electric wires. It's still a huge hazard, but, I mean, he did put them in the backyard, so I guess the kids can play on it.
All right. What was your last?
Okay, I have a couple more points here.
Make it fast.
While I'm up here, let's just go ahead and handle this. I'd like to request a solid masonry perimeter fence. Our code currently says it can be made of wood. We'd like to see brick or concrete or something more long lasting. Curbs on the streets. How are the emergency services gonna find these homes in a bad weather storm event? Curb numbers. When the house gets blown away, they need to find where these homes are at. For these residents that are living in this property.
I believe each one of these will have a concrete drive going in, correct? Going into the home?
I don't know if we talked about that, but we'll definitely look into it. I mean, it would have we would, at minimum, would have the skirt and driveway, not necessarily to the road, but that's stuff that we can discuss. And again, at some point, you know, you might not be the builder for your community, and we'll respect that.
Yeah.
I'm not thinking that you
I
guys.
thought that was one thing we were here for, is to speak about the roadways, how we're putting them in, hard
We are not.
surface or.
We're here to discuss the rezoning of the property.
Okay.
And the issue with that, the rezoning of the property, is that it is in your hands. It is your decision as a city council to listen to the citizens of this town and either rezone this and let this process continue, or set stipulations right now so that this can be done right. The last couple of things that I have are the hard surface roads. I would really love to see that, and then, of course, the curbs on the street, like I was saying, they're not just for safety of the residents, also for water drainage issues, to direct the water flow coming off the street, of course, if they're gravel roads, I'm sure that'll just soak right in and make some mud for everybody. But that's about all I have. I just ask that you guys consider the citizens that are currently here, in addition to the citizens that you want to go there.
Okay.
Ms. Mayor, can I ask a quick question? I won't take 90 seconds.
Okay.
I just wanna make sure that I understand, 'cause I think I understand what you're saying. We've got all the ordinances in place, the subcommittee can then put stipulations on them. What we're trying to do tonight is say, will we allow this?
Will we allow it?
Will you allow
so
this
that we can go
subdivision
into
in?
subdivision committee?
And if we allow the subdivision in, now he's gonna put a plat together, he's gonna come to the, planning commission, or the subdivision committee, and the subdivision committee's gonna then go back through those ordinances and say, this is what we want, this is what we need, this is what we have. Also, I'm looking at your plat right here, this is an easement, you can't be here, you're gonna have to move out to this area right here, and all of those things. So that's what we're trying to accomplish tonight.
Yes,
Okay.
that's it.
Because I think a lot of people are still pretty fuzzed up.
Mm-hmm.
That lack of sewer, the 2.5 acre situation, so do you guys have to adhere to that? Do you guys have to make it? It's in the code book, so.
So the plat won't look anything like
So,
Janice,
are you
what
willing to
comes?
make 2.5 acre lots in there, if that's what our code?
It won't be for us, no.
Okay. So
Janice
Jody-
McComas.
I'm here.
Oh, all right, I'm sorry.
Do I have to stand up?
No, not at all.
There's 120, 150 acres though.
I
Well,
just
know,
wanna
I'm
ask
just saying
if,
2.5 acres is what it's code
if
book.
this is gonna be the standard of how all the plots and all the different things are gonna be handled. 'Cause
Every subdivision that
Will be
ever comes
different?
through here will go through the same process.
But they have the ability to be different, yes,
Good.
yes,
Okay.
yes.
Can you not rezone it and still send it back to the subcommittee? Or does it have to be rezoned before it goes back to the subcommittee?
Well, the subdivision committee cannot put stipulations on a property that is not zoned for a subdivision.
But you guys
Could we
can't.
reword it as in recommendations?
We are the recommendations, you know, we're gonna have lots of recommendations.
To be clear, he said that he would not adhere to the 2.5 acres, that the land would not be for him.
But he has a right to do that at some level. I mean, he has a right at some point to
Well,
look at
but
this
why would we
community.
rezone it for him if he's not gonna,
Adhere to our own book.
yeah.
I mean, I can't tell you how many, what do you call them, Teresa, when you're, variances. We allow variances pretty regularly.
Oh, so you guys don't have to follow the code book?
No, the board can choose variances if we choose to, is that right?
And that is what we are afraid of, that's what we.
But,
So y'all can pick and choose which rules you follow in the book?
guys, I know you guys, from your seat, I've been in your seat, for.
And you fought hard for
Yeah.
it too, there's a garden next door now, instead of a quadplex.
Correct, yeah, because that wasn't the right place for a quadplex, and that was my opinion.
This isn't the right place for a
Yeah.
neighborhood, that's our opinion.
And you have that right to have that opinion, that's why we're here tonight, that's democracy, that's the conversation that we're all having tonight. But my point is whether it's this board or the next board or any board after that, they can allow variances, they can allow, that's the point of a board.
Can we get guarantees that you guys are gonna adhere to those two codes right there written in the book?
I'm not going to, no.
So you're just gonna let it, you're just gonna change it all up?
No, I'm not, I'm gonna let this due process take place.
Are you on the list to speak? sir?
I'll give my minutes to him, I'll just ask him a quick question.
He can have my 3 minutes.
All right. Terry Hill.
He can have my 3 minutes.
One Rebecca.
I'll give it back.
Diana Sheber, possibly? Okay.
You want to talk to my place? Go right
Oh,
ahead.
I talk too much anyway.
Okay. Of course, I live right across from you. And with all these things of, well, we can change this or we can change that, I think you need to not change this code or this, zoning until after you have all this stuff in place. You should not change it until you have everything in place.
We don't even know what you guys are planning on doing yet.
Yeah.
We have no idea what your views are on the situation. You guys are asking us to be okay with rezoning it, and we don't even have a clue whether you're gonna be half acre lots, quarter acre lots, gravel roads, I mean, we don't have a clue what you're gonna require of this guy. And you're telling me that what's in the code book doesn't matter, that you can change that because you feel so, that that's
I just
the
was
right
being
thing.
transparent that the board can allow
I
variance.
appreciate the transparency,
Now,
because
would
I'll be
now-
glad later on finding that out.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying that you're asking us to be okay with letting you guys make those decisions on what codes to adhere to or not adhere to. We're not even to we don't even need a comprehensive plan right now. It's in the book on what you guys have decided needs to be done, and the neighborhood that he's proposing does not fit those guidelines of what you guys had already put down in the code book.
So that's what I'm saying.
So why are we
Get all
zoning something if
straight
they can't
first
fit?
Before you change it.
Once it goes to your subdivision committee, they have the option to go in and say, hey, these are the things that we don't agree with.
What were they
These
doing
are
the
the
first
things-
time?
Huh?
What were they doing the first time?
They were introducing themselves and saying, hey, we're new to town, this is what our intention is.
Was anybody asked if there was an issue with the preliminary plat?
I don't believe so. I don't
No,
believe so.
no one at that meeting was asked if there was like an issue with the roads or the traffic
Oh,
or the...
well, we had lots of issues with people that were worried about dusty roads.
Well, what about hard surface? You guys aren't gonna do that one either. That's in our code book, that we can require that, but you guys aren't gonna require him to do that?
That will be the subdivision committee's choice on what they want.
Who's on the subdivision committee?
It's all right in there.
Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Two members from the planning commission, the chairman of the town board of trustees, the town clerk treasurer, the fire chief, the private utility company representative, if there is one, the county health department, the police chief, the public works superintendent, or one private citizen for each of the following areas: water, sewer, streets.
So what's the total number?
How many of them people actually live in town?
Pardon me?
How many of them people live in town?
They don't live here.
They have to live.
Yeah, they have to.
They ain't gonna live here.
Well, other than the
The health department and then.
county health
And then you
department.
go.
That board is speaking for the people.
You know how much people talking in that meeting that don't even live here?
Now,
Literally everyone's
this
against
is the
it. Why aren't you
structure of the
listening to
committee,
us?
sir.
I know, but you're talking about people that aren't in this community, talking about the,
What, did you listen to what I said?
I did.
Two members of the planning commission,
I heard
do they
that.
live here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
They might.
one of them might not, which two are they?
Planning commission chooses, I would assume.
Whoever they happen to be.
So they could live here.
No, they have to be in order to be on the planning commission, they have to be a resident of.
They have to own a home here?
They have to live in Union City.
They have to have permanent residence here.
They have to live in Union City.
Does Jacob live in Union?
Is that the town proper, or is that?
Chairman of the board of trustees, the mayor, in other
He
words.
does,
Okay.
but Jacob's the other one on the planning committee, but he doesn't live in Union City.
I'm
on the planning commission, I'm not on.
Isn't
Two
Jacob on the
members,
subdivision?
listen to what I said, two members. I don't know who those two members are, but
Well,
that's
What he's asking you is, to be on the planning commission, you have to live in Union City. Is that what you said?
That's the way I read this.
Uh-oh.
What he's saying is someone on the planning commission does not live within the city.
I'm not, they're talking about me, I was told as long as I own a business I could be on, and they voted me on, and I stood here with the mayor and everybody else. They're talking about me, there's no secret. I own businesses, I own a
Nothing
farm.
against you either, sir.
No, I plan on moving out here, they're
talking.
talking about me, it's no secret, I don't care.
But,
Is the
would you mind reading the code?
you already got names for those people? They go around people.
We could try to attach names to most of them, yes,
Well,
like
who-
our police
who
chief,
all's
our
on the
fire chief,
subdivision committee?
which is,
I mean, not on, we do have the
so
list.
Bob will be on it, she'll be on it, both live in Union
Okay.
City, our police
Well, that's what I'm
chief,
saying.
our police chief
Say
does
the
not live in
requirements,
Union City.
but like,
I'm trying, our fire department chief lives in Union City, two of our planning commission, people both live in Union City.
Jacob, do you own a residence here?
So I own a farm and I own businesses,
You do not own a
I
residence.
do not own a residence. It was beautiful.
Yeah, step down.
Yep. Okay.
But the bulk of all that list has to live in Union City. I think the police chief is an exception to
County
that.
health department person doesn't necessarily.
Yeah, the county health department person's not gonna live
Well, I
here.
would expect that.
Yeah, there's just a few, but the majority of that list all live in.
I just want, I mean, to go back on what they're saying, I mean, business owners care about this city too.
Yeah.
Business owners care what go on.
Are you referring to the ordinance, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
They don't have to follow ordinance, though, they can leave on.
I think I'm on your side, but don't throw me under the
If
bus.
they said they had to follow the code book.
I know that's backwards, don't throw me under the bus. I'll tell you exactly what I'm saying. Come on.
David Brookshire.
How many more do you got? People, is there not more people gonna talk?
My concern is, I'm north of the property of it, on 240 acres, just north of this piece of property. My concern is getting all these homes in there and me having to put up more insurance on my property for these kids and people crossing the fences, going to my ponds, getting out with my cattle and on my ranch, and getting hurt, broke leg, drowned in the damn pond. My pond, I built it, it's 5.5 acres and it's 54 foot deep. And somebody falls in it, and they don't know how to swim, and most of these folks gonna move out there as city folks. They ain't got it. They don't know nothing. Period. And I don't like it, and yes, I'm a builder, developer, farmer, rancher, I own a granite company, and I own 4 companies. I'm all for building, but the main thing is, y'all are building in Union City, of course you are. You're building another town 5 miles from Union City. Period. There's no stores, there's no restaurants, no nothing in this town, because people in Union City, this part of town, which I love, does not want growth. So no, y'all push us out there, and again, I said it last time I was here, us folks out there, when you're east of 81, we don't know nothing of what's going on in this town. Fireworks, parades, anything. And we're out there, but y'all want our money for our taxes, okay? And I call BS on that. Yes, I know Mike Shattuck, Vanessa Shattuck very well. I've known him for 23 years through the home builders. And Mike's a good person, and so is Vanessa. This fella here, I don't know him from Adam. But just to go out there and buy a piece of property and go in there and put all these houses up, he didn't do his homework before he bought it, because I was at the auction, because I was going to buy the property myself. He didn't know anything about the lines going to it or anything else. He didn't know how much money it's going to cost to run water there, which is going to be over $1 million some odd dollars. Now, he's got to put roads in there, concrete roads preferably, in order to make it right. And, you know, they're $2.5 billion right there, and he says he's gonna sell these houses, it's gonna be worth $50 or $100 million for these homes. Horse crap. Horse crap. There's no way in God's green earth that he's gonna make that much money off of that and bring it to this town in taxes and everything else. Most of those folks gonna move out there, that's great. We don't have a school here big enough. We got 25, 30 kids that's gonna be here that we can allow in there now to max out our school. Got you. Build another school, then develop.
Yeah.
Then develop, period. And, but guys, we ain't here. We ain't here. And I'm sorry. I mean, every one of you guys, I appreciate every one of you sitting on the board. I've been there. But you gotta do it right, man. You gotta do it right, and it's not going right. So please listen. I mean, I've been in this crap for, I'm 64 years old, I've been in it 35 and a half years. So, I think I know what I'm talking about.
All right, Christina
Townsend.
Huh?
Townsend.
Townsend.
Yes, sir. Thanks for the opportunity to talk, everything's been covered, but I did just wanna point out, we kinda need to do our homework with Hiawassee 80. They've got multiple, lawsuits against them, one of which is a poorly built sewer septic system. So, just kinda know who you're dealing with when you're signing this over to them. Kinda sounds like we've got the cart before the, before the horse here. Sure would appreciate it if we could get a better plan and then address this. I know we are gonna have growth, but just to do it right, just think.
Tracy, would you like to address those?
You bet, thank you. There's a few things I'd like to share, and I'll try to speak quickly. I know time is limited. First, let me kind of reverse order, hit the lawsuit. To be transparent, and off the cuff, I'm not familiar which lawsuit. We've got a couple of them. I'm not familiar what the issue is in Hiawassee 80. Again, when you've sold tens of thousands of acres of land, you do a lot of business, 100 million sales, you're going to have some issues. So Mike Shaddix is my 50-50 partner in Blue Ribbon Construction. We are equal. I say that. Vanessa's 25%, his wife. Mike is 25%, and I'm 50%. The agreement is, his son Brett works with him. The agreement is they're going to buy the land from Hiawassee 80. I think that's pivotal and key because now they have a vested interest in building the community. I've stated that before. In previous meetings I've shared, I think it would be very beneficial for those of you, if you have any desire for growth, to drive their communities, see the product that they build, because what you're proposing to reject, I'm very, very biased, could be a blessing to this community. The product that they build, the price point, definitely. There's been several things talked about commercial, kind of real estate basics, if you will. Rooftops bring commercial. And somebody shared, there's a possibility that they're going to go 5 miles east. That's the fact. Some will. At the same time, there's going to be families within that community, if it is built, that will go to the school system because their kids are going to school, and it's going to drive people to town. But rooftops drive commercial.
Are y'all putting commercial in the front of y'all's place there?
We're not doing anything.
Oh, no commercial from y'all?
No,
We're not doing anything.
I think, there's been a lot of things recommended. Two last points, I'll try to read. There's been a lot of things recommended, like, like the development to see certain things, whether it's storm shelter, concrete streets, paved streets, curbs, park. I think we're open. I'll be very transparent. The numbers don't work. I would agree with this gentleman, neighbor to the north, shared, like, we would not make any money if we followed your guidelines. Therefore, we wouldn't build, because we're not going to build and lose money. I've done that before. I've done it many times, unfortunately.
So you're saying you won't follow the guidelines?
So I would ask for a variance, and I would ask for a variance.
What's the difference between a variance and not following the guidelines?
There's variances that happen in every town, every city.
You know how many,
It's just a question.
But
It's just, I cannot follow it, but I'm not illegal.
But
We would ask
it's
for
not,
variance.
variances, there are a number of reasons why variances are given.
Negotiation.
And I understand that, but he's still saying he's not
And
gonna follow the guidelines.
we're talking about a group that's looking at developing this property and investing. You gave us a number of, I think, $20 to $40 million.
It would be 40 to 50.
$40 to $50 million of investment in this community. But hold on, give me a second. They're gonna make an investment of that size in this community. I'm just trying to spin you just a little bit, just calm you down. When's the last person or group that walked into this community and offered to make an upgrade to our community of that magnitude?
And upgrade
Across the
this
street.
Yeah, and what happened to that one across the street?
was it done wrong too?
Yeah, eventually, exactly what he's trying to explain is, as a community, you start setting so many guidelines, trying to act like we're Edmond, Oklahoma, and the next thing you know, they don't build
Did
it.
that get zoned residential before he figured that out?
Right, Tony didn't build there because it's gonna cost him too much money, and he asked the Carrolls to put in the sewer line for it after he bought it. That's horse crap. He bought the property, he asked to do all the utilities and everything else, so since Randy and Kenny Carroll would got put in the plumbing point to run to the lagoon, he backed out.
Which every builder has the right to do. And you have to ask yourself, when you're negotiating a very large project like this one, the single best thing that we as a community should be looking for is where they have a little bit of unhappiness and we have a little bit of unhappiness, and we meet somewhere in the middle. If we want the project to go through. If you don't want the project to go through, then just stack every single demand you could ever dream of on top of the guy to the point to where he just packs up and goes somewhere else. Then you have to worry about what's gonna build there next. What's gonna be built behind the Dairy Mart now? Does anybody know?
Yeah, it's a sand plant.
Huh?
It's a sand
I said
plant.
behind the Dairy Mart.
Yeah.
What's gonna be built there now?
Another sand plant.
Okay.
Is it?
So would it
Is
have
it
been
already
better?
zoned?
Huh?
It's still ag land?
Yeah, it's all select. But my point is we don't know. We don't know what's
Well,
gonna be
yeah,
built.
but we'll start this rigmarole the next time for,
Yeah.
it's ag land, they didn't rezone it.
There's a vet clinic coming.
Huh?
There's a vet clinic coming.
Which is great. I mean, that's a good one. But my point is we don't know what's coming on that property, right?
All
We
we're
hope
asking
that it's
is
gonna
don't
be positive
rezone something
impact.
until we know what's coming to this one. That's
Actually, I'm
ridiculous.
hearing, let's rezone it, and then I'm also hearing, we're gonna have to have variances. And then it's like, well, we'll figure out that stuff on the backside, and it feels to me it's all just gonna get swept under the rug.
Not if everybody does their job, it will not.
Well,
Is it possible to list with the new variances he wants to request?
He will. Yeah, once he starts negotiating with the subdivision committee.
But that's after the zoning.
And I've been very consistent in all the meetings to
Yeah.
share our desires, and I understand it may not work for the community.
Well, can we get that in writing, so we have it, like, so I have something, I mean, I just have my own ideas of some of the concerns I have, sir, and I respect your being honest and everything. However, I don't know what all those variances are, and I don't know what the impact it will be on that area out from that. I mean, I'm very worried about the egress on 152. I'm very worried about all the other construction company with all these other big vehicles that are gonna be coming down 152, and what is that damage gonna be doing to the roads? And how is that gonna impact the changes that we have coming on? So, I mean, I have no idea what all the variances are, but I would really like to request to see if I could have a list of them.
You bet, that's easy. So, two last things, again, emphasize many times in the town to thrive, commercial, rooftops drive commercial. I thought it was interesting, I've been married 25 years, I can assure you my wife could, tell some horror stories on Tracy Williams, but, I thought it was interesting, I'm passionate, out of the overflow of your heart, your mouth speaks, and, you know, emphatically, we don't want nothing what's going on in this town. There are no stores. Emphatically. We don't want nothing that's going on in this town. There are no stores. I think that speaks volumes, and right after that, there was a large amount of clapping. And so, it's your community. I will say one last thing, this is it. There's a lot of, I'm going to assume there's a lot of landowners in this room. I'm gonna assume there's a lot of landowners. Some that don't have the danger of kites could fly safely. And so, I'm very open to the brainstorm of a park. I'm open to proving a point with philanthropy of giving large sums of money if you wanna give up your land. So, I'll just close with that. Again, I think any town that wants to grow ad valorem taxes on the school, you need people. These are the right kind of people. I've shared in other meetings, these will not be rental homes. The metrics don't work. These will be owner-occupied homes, people that invest $300,000 to $500,000 that cherish their little plot of land, that cherish their gravel road, that, you know what? They're gonna cherish that they back up to a high line because they own something and they're not renting and they've got an acre of land. So that may not be the classes in this room. When I got started, yes, I live in a mobile home. You know, I made $26,000 at 95 as a school teacher. So I just think you guys are making a monumental mistake, and it sounds like you made one recently. But, and I say that, hearing what you want, like Rouse Coleman doesn't fit the bill, because it's gonna be a bunch of rentals. I wish I was Rouse Coleman if I had my business hat on, because they got a heck of a business. But they're gonna build product that's going to drive rentals. This is owner occupied, and hopefully they bring in kids, so they're not saying comments like, there are no those stores, and we don't want anything to do with this town. It's time to change.
We're not saying don't change, we're saying do it right.
Do it
So
better.
that it sets us up for a great future, and these residents that move to this area want to stay.
I would encourage you to drive our community.
Alright, Eric Wells.
I was just, I don't know, I just live, a little bit south of where this construction's gonna be. And I'm just concerned with all the if it's gonna be gravel, all the dust and everything. I mean, everybody in the country has dust, but there's just lots of it, and that'll just accumulate a lot more. And just hope we could settle on a, hard surface roads instead of gravel.
Yeah.
And I guess probably everything else has been stated.
Brenda Wells.
Yeah, I could echo that as well, but I'm very worried about the egress. I want to get to it, I think I've said that in every meeting I've been in. And I've been very worried about now that if we're gonna have, pulling up for just 5 years, maybe 7 or 8, we're gonna have, 15, 20 houses being built, we're gonna have that constant traffic coming up. And what is that gonna be doing to our roads, And so I fear, I'm good for, growth as well. I think it's important to have it. However, I am concerned about how we're putting the, this is my opinion, and I have nothing to bear, can't base it on, other than I'm concerned, okay? And so I'm concerned that we're doing this, and there's a lot of areas, as I think, that have been talked about with you all, and the builder, and this other gentleman, and I don't know what those are.
For the record, I've never talked to that gentleman about a single variance ever.
Yeah.
I mean, we never have. I genuinely tonight want to accomplish, a vote on the rezoning, and then I want our subdivision committees to work with this gentleman to create a plan.
So the map that's behind you, that is a proposed lot, right, it's proposed.
Preliminary plat.
Oh, preliminary plat. And so I can see things that might be a little bit concerning that don't meet code right now.
And that's why we have the police chief, the fire chief, we have people in place that are going to be working with him to cover those things.
Do y'all have the power to flip flop it? Can y'all flip flop and do the subdivision planning committee first before you rezone something?
Because this preliminary phase doesn't
Alright,
happen.
so, this will be the last time I'll speak on it. It can't go to the subdivision committee until after it's been rezoned.
Why not? Do we have a variance on that?
Because you can't.
I don't understand why we can't do that.
If I do that today, okay, since it's agricultural property, if I do that today, and I think we probably could, couldn't we, Tom? If I do that today, that means I have access to everything on your agricultural property, on everything.
Why?
Because now we're judging agricultural property. That's why you put this in a certain order.
You're talking about what he's talking about doing for a residential application. He's not talking about putting a farm on.
Residential, all of our residential stuff.
Is every other town like this? Is every town?
Every single town.
You go through and you rezone something before you have an idea if it's gonna be a strip club or
He might
a
wanna rezone it to flip it. We might rezone it, and there's nothing keeping him, even after it's rezoned, to him selling it to a completely different building.
So there's nothing that we could rezone it and then he can kind of do what he will.
No, because he has, because he has to get a building permit through this board, and through this planning commission, and through this subdivision committee.
Once it's rezoned, Teresa, what can be built there? If we zone it R1A.
Single family residential built on site.
On-site,
On-site.
stick-built homes.
No mobile homes.
No mobile homes,
On 2.5 acre lots.
unless there's a variance given, correct? According to the ordinance you read. Yeah.
We might consider 2.5 of.
Okay, hold on.
If you can do what?
Mobile homes?
There's already one mobile home on the quarter section in the code book, there can't be another mobile home on 160 acres.
A modular home is allowed though in any zone.
Yeah.
They're
They're
not the
designated,
same
they're
thing.
designated in code, modular homes and trailers, and those are all.
Single wide.
No, it's a mobile home, no.
All right, I think this is the end of the list.
Mobile homes.
Alright, forward. 10B, rezoning application, consideration of possible approval, denial, amendment, revision, or acceptance of rezoning application for Hiawassee 80, located at the northwest corner of 152 and Banner Road from agricultural 1 to residential 1A. Do I have a motion?
You guys got any questions or anything else?
I'm good.
What was the planning commission's recommendation?
What was the planning commission's recommendation? To rezone it?
Rezone it with what stipulation?
Yeah.
With the recommendation of hard surface road.
That's exactly right.
Was that, I missed.
Are you willing to do hard surface roads?
He's selling it.
Wow.
Oh, yeah, you're selling your half anyway.
What if we stepped in to help put hard surface roads in the property?
I like that.
What kind of hard?
Asphalt?
Who are you? Do no disrespect.
Jason, nice to meet you.
Yeah, I know. I'm just trying to understand.
I don't think
Are you representative of a company or a builder or a developer?
He lives in our community.
I have friends here. I live
Okay, okay.
He's saying
He's
we
the
as
ice
a
man.
town.
Oh, us as a town.
Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm saying me and my people.
Oh, okay.
If I get with Tracy and his people, and I pave the roads for him under our own deal, that'll squash all of it, right?
Well, the road issue, yes.
It would help.
It would, it
But
would,
that was the
it would
big thing,
satisfy
I thought,
me.
right, with the gravel?
That's one of many big things.
Okay, but I mean,
Yeah.
that's a big thing, but I mean, but what, so what if I offer that?
We're moving in the right direction.
We-
Okay, I live here, I got the community in mind too, I
We
promise you, I
appreciate
got a business.
We appreciate that,
Yeah,
yeah.
we appreciate
I mean,
that.
I'm trying to work with that.
Yeah,
company.
yeah.
Yeah,
So I'm
I,
saying, what if I got with him and tried to do something, and we try to
I think that's a
eliminate
good
the
start.
dirt problem?
That's a great start. If everybody comes together and does that kind of thing.
And we're all in this together, we gotta figure this out.
right,
Change is
agreed.
coming, guys, the change is coming.
Agreed, but let's make it nice. so
Agreed,
people
now,
wanna
oh,
be here and
I live
stay
here,
Yeah.
I get it, I'm a part of this community myself, I don't want trailer house.
So my question is, are you gonna pay for the roads?
That's my business, maybe I will.
Okay.
And I mean, that's great,
You need to
but
get
if
back to that.
you're gonna, hey, I'm gonna contribute some, and the rest of the money doesn't come up, does it just disappear?
Just one of them here.
The hard surface road,
If I commit to doing a hard surface road, I'll commit to doing a hard surface road.
you'll make it happen one way or another.
Me and Tracy will get together, we'll work it out.
I'm doing it for you.
Is that something new?
They're straight off.
One problem solved.
It's not a bad thing, we're trying to, people get cut off, they can
Alright. Alright, do I have a motion?
I make a motion that we approve, 10B, to change it from agricultural to residential.
A1 to R1A.
Correct.
Do I have a second? Motion and a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
No.
Aye. Motion approved.
Listen to the damn thing you
Doesn't matter
said.
what we said. That's sad.
You sent out letters to all the neighbors, and there's not a neighbor here that wanted this. Why'd you even send us a damn letter?
Excuse me, sir.
I'll see myself out, but why'd you even send us a letter? Cause you had to. There's not a neighbor here that wanted this. Whole damn room of people. One guy from out of town. Sellout.
My dad used to be part of this fucking council. He would've been disappointed.
Sorry to hear
I'm
that.
out this bitch.
Alright, moving on. Ordinance number 358, 10C. Do I have a motion for consideration of possible approval, denial, amendment, revision, or acceptance of ordinance 358 to amend zoning ordinance of property from A1 to R1A at the southeast quarter?
I make a motion we approve 10C.
Second?
Tracy, good luck.
Motion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I didn't vote.
That wasn't me.
No.
That's
You
it.
abstaining?
Yeah, right.
You just got Michelle.
All right, 10D, back to, where'd my list go? Jake Johnson and Joe White,
Yes,
I believe you're 10D, correct?
yes.
Yes, sir.
All right, 10D, rezoning application, consideration of possible approval, denial, amendment, revision, or the acceptance of a rezoning application for Benry Investments LLC located at 3365 East Garrett Road, from A1 to I1, as listed in the legals on the application. Do y'all have any questions for them?
Y'all wanna give us a little spill?
Yes. It's weird going after that action-packed stuff. We've just got 5 acres over there we're wanting to buy, and it's gonna be, we're a small construction company, like we talked about. No variance. It's only 5 acres, guys, it isn't that big of a deal. But anyway, like we talked about last time, we're a small oil field construction company, wanna make that our base of operations right over there off of 29. Other than that, it's pretty self-explanatory, gonna have some equipment there. We've got a building already there. We are not Benry Investments, but that's who we're buying it from. So, it was planning on being, I think, a marijuana grow, and now we wanna turn it into a local business. Joe and I both live in Canadian County. This is where we want it. Saying last time, can't pick a better community to have something like that, I don't think. So, we also talked about any runoff or anything like that. We are grading it, and right now we're gonna go ahead and, build us a retention pond at the bottom of it, so no issues there. Gonna be no stormwater runoff, anything like that. So, does anybody have any questions for me?
I'll add something. It's just a base of operations. We're not gonna be doing any actual, like, welding or construction or
No
anything like that.
construction there.
So, I mean, everything's gonna be off-site. It's just a facility for employees to come, start their day, travel out.
And there's already a property right next to it that is zoned industrial.
Yeah, they're gonna have a lot more activities than we will, so, like, 'cause they do, like, pump manufacture, stuff like that. We're small. We have another yard in Guthrie that a lot of our bigger stuff's based out of, but oil and gas is obviously heavy in this community, so we're putting our people and some equipment out here in this facility, just to.
I believe the planning commission had some recommendations on retention.
Yeah,
Yeah, and that's what he said he's gonna build.
Yeah, I mean, I plan on
Was everything in that,
In what?
what he just said?
Yeah. Y'all could put some specifications on the retention pond, like how much water it should have to hold, like for the.
It's gonna be big.
You could
Yeah.
put
I mean,
a spec on, like so many cubic feet.
I mean, my goal is to have a big pond down there so some of the employees can fish and stuff after work, it's gonna be like decent size. So, yeah, I mean, I do a lot of civil contracting as well, so like, we got a little bit.
We need some clarification on the fire hydrant, so if in the rule book, the code book, it says any new residential or commercial, so it's rezoned to that, there's supposed to be a fire hydrant within 500 feet. It doesn't specifically call out industrial, but I think that they might have put commercial in there to cover both commercial and industrial. Seems like the industrial, if there's one that needed a fire hydrant, it's industrial.
I would agree with a lot of that stuff if we control the water though, but when we don't control the water, we don't make a dime off the water. We get hammered for every meter and everything out there.
Well, there are alternatives.
Someone's gonna have to pay for that meter service. I mean, you have to have the city to pay for that fire extinguisher, and whatever water comes out of there, the city would have to pay for it. So there's different avenues with being small cities. I mean, I think everybody wants in here cake, ice cream, everything combined and eat it as well. There's a lot of tough things to go on. Maybe the city's too big, but when you got rural water and you're trying to run businesses out of there, there's a lot of different variances. And I know we have members on rural water that's in here, but landowners trying to make it easier for those people too, and it's not done very well to make it convenient for those owners out there for the rural water authority either, is what I'm saying, so.
Brian, doesn't Canadian County have something where you purchase a fire hydrant and it goes through your meter?
That's up to the board. I don't speak on behalf of the board.
Has it been done before?
There is.
If Brian and I need to work together,
So,
we can, like I.
up on 66, that's in Reno, right now, along 66 and Mariner, those buildings are bigger than what, the fire marshal, is allowing, and inside of them. So they have 90,000 gallon tanks out front for their fire suppression, they have to have their own fire suppression system. Because it is a free flow system, and they can't pump off of it. They can free flow into the trucks if need be, but they have their own fire safety set up for them. Whatever the spec is of the building, and then it may, I don't know, it was first established for a marijuana growth property, and it didn't go through, but, with him having a retention pond there, there is something for the fire trucks to suck into.
They can draft though, that's pretty
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Why are we planning on building a bunch of houses by 152 when the double lane that was advertised in the newspaper in 2010, how the highway was gonna be expanded, still hasn't yet to be built?
They're expanding it right now. That's a state highway, so we don't control that timeline.
We don't build the roads.
Yeah.
They're working on it right now.
They had to do land acquisitions all the way up and down there, they had to move utilities, they've been working on it for well over a year now. Yeah, my buddy was doing it.
The guy that owns, supervisor at TJ Campbell Construction, 540 days that's supposed to be done into a Super 3 here in Mustang, which means every mile supposed to turn to be the extra easements, and then every mile you're gonna have to turn all the way down here in Mustang.
Starts June 17th,
Starts
right?
June 17th, 540 days from completion.
8 foot, shoulders in order to possibly have to expand, if they need to expand it later down the road. June 17th, you'll see that happening. If you notice all the stuff going on,
Oh, yeah.
it's pretty obvious that they're fixing to start on that.
All paid for.
They gotta finish
Oklahoma.
59. Once they finish phase 59, June 17th, you'll see them, they're gonna start at, 81 and do 1 mile sections, 81 to Alphaville. Once they finish that, they'll open that, and then they'll go to the next mile section.
On this rezoning application for industrial, do you guys have any more questions on it?
I do not. Planning Commission's recommendation was to go ahead and approve it.
Yes.
Do we need to, just on the motion, do we need to add any?
Yeah, I would add in that the retention pond be large enough for.
So we're gonna address retention pond and then fire.
The average depth, I think, is
There was
55
a retention pond, there was a retention wall around something.
We're on the water left of the property at one location, so if we got a branch up there, we control it there.
I thought you had something around.
He said it all, that's in one spot anyways.
Okay.
So it'll be like.
Gravel across the entire thing, correct?
No, not yet. I mean, we're a cash basis company, we're gonna grow slow. Like, we're gonna put a little gravel, and then as we grow, we're gonna add more gravel. It's probably gonna be a decade before we fully gravel that place.
What's it take to gravel 5 acres?
A lot.
Oh.
I don't know. Just borrow your checkbook.
I know a guy.
52 trees, they're talking for 3.
He'll put blacktop down.
Hey, you make a deal for me too, buddy?
Yeah, hell yeah, talk that.
All right, do I have a motion?
I just wanna be clear on the motion, the retention pond, and know the size.
Large enough for fire suppression.
That's gonna take place of.
I don't know what's gonna be there, but.
Hey, Joe, here's a fireman too.
I don't know if you could use an open retention pond as a source of water to
because if it evaporates,
Dries
it
up,
drowns.
not there, yeah.
So if it was like a backup water source, it'd probably have to be underground or above ground in an enclosed tank.
Can we do it with him discussing a fire hydrant with Canadian County Rural Water District?
Yeah, we have no say or do on that part.
Yeah, I mean, I work with Ryan, I mean, like, it doesn't matter. I mean, we aren't gonna have anything flammable really in there, I mean, there's not gonna be much there other than iron. There's nothing like.
Retention pond,
I mean,
fire.
and we gotta start thinking,
Retention wall.
we got more people in the house out there worried about a fire.
And
Oh,
then,
come on, we got these people living at home out there, they want
fire
fire.
hydrant through Canadian County Rural Water District.
There is a fire hydrant,
The potential for fire with industrial.
Like 29
I get that too.
How far away is that?
half mile.
Half a mile. Is that close enough for firefighting?
Technically, yeah, but code, I think it's 500 foot.
500 foot?
But,
So you're gonna have to find a, you're gonna have to find a hydrant.
Ryan, how big's your water main right there? That was a fire hydrant cost $2,000.
Like that, but maybe you just put it in, yeah.
I'll buy a fire hydrant if y'all wanna put it in, I don't care.
That's not up to me.
So, I mean, I'm willing to, if it goes to the board or whatever, I don't know.
Stipulation of fire hydrant.
So retention pond, fire hydrant, and that's the only two?
How can we as a city put regulations on that we don't control? That's my only worry, we don't control that this gentleman could get a fire hydrant, and we're gonna put a regulation on him that he has to have one.
I'm asking questions.
No, I know,
Yeah,
that's what I'm
about
saying, but
what the
before
planning
we
commission
vote,
recommended.
and we're voting on a regulation that we have no control on, as a city, as an ordinance or anything.
Maybe you can
No, they
recommend
can
under
choose
contingency.
let him have one or not, that's a totally different board, is what I'm saying.
Oh, no, county election, it'll cost you about $10,000.
not necessarily.
Well, sometimes it will. If your marijuana business.
One thing you can do though is, Gregory Estates, 29th and Gregory, there's 3 tanks out there, I believe they're 15,000 gallons each. They're fed by water wells, and then there's a hydrant off of those that is sufficient for NFPA standards.
For retention pond only?
You can say fire,
Or
Fire hydrant.
you can say fire.
They have to have the retention pond no matter what.
Retention pond, recommendation of fire hydrant.
I make a motion, we approve 10C, ordinance number 358 to.
10D.
I'm sorry, I thought I got 10C on mine. Well, that's wrong.
We're on.
I'm sorry, 10D, I'm sorry, you're right. I make a motion on 10D, the rezoning application located at 3365 East Garrett Road from A1 to I1. And it will need to include a retention pond and recommendation of a fire hydrant.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
Question real quick, how long do I have this put in?
Don't want to stipulate on the time, it's gonna have, you're gonna have to work with their board on the fire hydrant, or you're referring to the retention pond?
The retention pond.
How much time do you need?
It's been raining for 3 months, so I think
Yeah.
a month or two to get caught up on.
90 days would cover it?
Yeah, that'd be fine.
Okay, retention pond, 90 days, Trustee, 5 minutes.
I have a motion, do I have a second? Motion and a second, all those in favor? Aye. Aye. Aye, motion approved. 10E, ordinance number 359, consideration of possible approval, denial, amendment, revision, or the acceptance of ordinance 359 to amend zoning ordinance for property located at 3365 East Garrett Road.
I make a motion, we approve 10E, ordinance number 359, to amend the zoning ordinance for property located at 3365 East Garrett Road.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
I'll say.
Motion and a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
10F, purchase of property, consideration of possible approval, denial, amendment, revision, or acceptance of Jason Russell's interest in purchasing new city county property at 20915 State Highway 152.
Am I up?
You're up.
You're up.
All right.
You bring
So,
drawings?
huh?
Brought drawings?
Well, I did, but I'm not ready, I want to, so, we're proposing bringing it, buy it, purchasing the property on, the east side
football field for a moment, with intentions on bringing in commercial business and also, residential triplexes, duplexes, and possibly a pocket, like, something like a pocket neighborhood, and Josh can, speak more on that type of stuff, but we're looking to attract a Dollar General, we're looking to attract something like a Sonic, and we're looking at bringing in a strip center as well that will have, allow for local businesses, say an insurance agent, a floral shop,
Get a job and other people for the love of God.
whatever, you know, it'll be, you know, 5 to 6 bay deal. We've got a pond on that property that we will, utilize and, try to make nice for the neighborhood, for the community, to be able to use as whether they want for fishing or whatever. Also, you know, doing the streets for the neighborhoods and all that stuff. You got anything you wanna add to that? This is Josh Gall. Josh Gall, he's helping me with both of this stuff.
No, I mean, it was brought to me and just kinda to open up to, kind of different options for different levels of people that maybe want to come in, you know, so we've kind of got like that pocket neighborhood, which has to be kind of more geared to like maybe some older people or something like that, to have like a common area that would be maintained by, you know, a small little HOA, maybe mow grass, something like that, you know, somewhere that kind of fits anybody that may be coming to Union City for the growth. You know, there's some bigger end homes, some higher end homes, I'm gonna say higher end, some more single family homes, or some, you know, like I said, there's a pocket neighborhood with some smaller houses, kind of geared like, you know, kind of older people, or kind of people that don't need to be keeping up with the maintenance of a property, that they could own those.
That could potentially be behind the gate.
Right.
Like yard type situation.
Triplexes, maybe, you know, right there, you kind of think of like it's just a living facility kind of thing.
Whatever, maybe, yeah. Sure, yeah, the yard will take care of, the HOA that takes care of it, and like landscaping, obviously we'll landscape beautification for the whole area, but, so, vision is things are coming, once this highway gets done, and I know, I've talked to a lot of people, and we need a Dollar General, we need some type of grocery, you know, and I don't know, I mean, we throw Sonic out because it's, well-known, they've got everything, all the different options to drink, the kids can utilize it for the different drinks and the food and all that stuff, and it's something to kind of maybe start anchoring growth for this town, and into some type of a modern era where we can spend our tax money at home and not go to, I don't know about y'all, but I would just soon drive through Dallas, Texas, with Mustang right now. It is so busy. It is unbelievable, and I hate it. And Mingo, you're very limited in Mingo. You go to El Reno and you know, it's El Reno, it's not Union City. And so, you know, most people, if you don't know, I own a corner lot. I brought the ice machine in, I'm bringing a fuel station in. So I live here. I'm not going anywhere, and I see what's happening, and I want growth for our community. And I genuinely care about this community, and we want to see what, I mean, we'll provide options, with the strip center. I mean, you know, local, if we don't do it, some out-of-towners are gonna come in and they won't care what we want. They're gonna buy all this property, and they're gonna do it how they wanna do it to their model. And right now, we have an opportunity to try to make this community better together. And that's our goal, is to try to develop something that is beneficial to this community.
How many homes do you put in a rooftop on?
We've ran different models, and up to as many as 37, residences. But keep in mind, some are gonna be quadplexes.
I was just trying to get a factor on how fast they're gonna be out of county helping with the roads and stuff, because the 2 developments right there, basically capped.
Say that again now?
With the other developments that are ready to go in, being in the city limits, and then yours, if you assume, say, 30 of them are triplexes that have 2 to 3 people each, you're at 90% capacity before the county no longer assists with the road work and helping out. Because the town then is overpopulation of what they want to help with, and that's part of the issue that this town is not struggling with, like Choctaw, where I'm from, is.
But you are right, we do need something to spend tax money here, because the sales tax money is what cities get to operate on, and that's what builds the city better. So, I do see where you're coming from too. And you're willing to take input, so.
We've, so, I think most of me, I think there's only a couple apartments here, and maybe a couple of, duplexes. And we've reached out to those people, and they are sold out before
They gotta
people
wait,
move out of it.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and so, the rental, I get where everybody's saying, but these won't be trailer houses, these will be, you know, quality built.
Yeah.
And we can put a fun little name on them, the townhouses of Union City, something, but, you know, the demand is there. People are coming, when this highway gets done in 550 days or whatever, guys, it's Katie bar the door here, so we have an opportunity to do it ourselves, or some guy in New York City, some 10 or 20 guys in New York City, Houston, in Phoenix, God forbid, LA, they're gonna come in and they're gonna buy this property up, and we're gonna lose all control of this deal. And so, we're willing to work with you guys, with the community. I'm already trying to, I'm invested here. I'm bringing in business as we speak. I've already brought in a small business. Get your eyes at the corner. For all that fuel.
For free.
Today, this morning was one, that's right, he got a free bag this morning. But, serious, you know, I got 160 acres out over, I'm not going anywhere. I like this place, I love this place, and I want to see it done right. And that's all I'm asking, an opportunity to try to help make this place done right.
How much land are you looking at buying this?
I believe it's just under 14 acres, or right at about 14 acres.
Can we get a McDonald's?
We'll see.
Have you ate McDonald's lately?
Right.
You can go eat a steakhouse for the price of that.
That's no doubt about that. Yeah, Longhorn.
I was just Kendall's and Noble, like, we're good.
Yeah.
But I work at Noble, so.
But we're happy to provide plans but, you know, so the deal is it's hard to go to, these big anchors. Your Dollar General, your whatever, mall, grocery store, your Sonic, your McDonald's, your whatever, when you don't actually own the property. So, you know, nobody wants to play the woulda, coulda game and all that, so if we don't own it, it's hard to sell it. Because they're gonna come, the first thing they say is, where's it at? You own it, what's it done, this and that? Well, yeah, we don't have that because it's not ours. So we're just asking for an opportunity to try to buy it.
Your impressions per month, how much traffic,
All
how
of
much
that
drive-by traffic versus.
And when they don't take that serious, remember, we're not, you know, I mean, anybody can pull it up on the county assessor's website and see that it doesn't belong to us. And those guys have people that do that for them.
Oh, yeah.
And so, nobody's gonna take us serious unless we have the opportunity to actually purchase this property and make this happen. That's all we're asking for.
And it needs to be somewhere to shop.
There needs to be somewhere to shop. There needs to be some rental, there needs to be some apartment type situation.
Even that's a little bit that we have dug into this, I mean, we've gotten solid interest. You know,
Very good.
at the end of it, it all boils down to, okay, well, see what you guys are doing, how much help, but I mean, we know exactly their models and what they're looking for, so.
What's the will of the board? Oh, all right, well, let's flip around.
I don't know.
Where? Come on up here.
I don't know if we have that broke down all the way yet.
Oh, I just didn't know if you had like an idea, like.
Well, we do.
All right, give us your spiel.
Well, so I'm Kim Gat with Gat Homestead Realty out of El Reno. We live just 2 miles west of Union City and been approached by the city to help facilitate the listing and sale of the 13.29 acres is what it is. And the city is finding the right buyer, the right plans, and it's just with the buyer and the planning committee, get a plan together, get it in place, have solid information to present to you guys before, moving forward.
Well, what's your thought?
I am been in Union City quite some time, family grew up here. I love this town, and I do see we need to grow, but we need to grow in the right way. And I do understand that, you know, we want McDonald's and things like that, but we also have to have the economic development to be able to support those numbers, because just like Minko had a Dollar General and a Dollar Tree and a whatever it was, for a hot minute, they don't have the money that stays in the town to support them both. So there is a lot of work that has to be done on the backside of these things to make sure that it can sustain itself and that the city can earn the tax dollars, because it's not, Minko's not making any money on that empty building now. So I would like to see, you know, something come in like what Jason's doing with multiple options for the city, so we are able to utilize that property to the best and fullest of its abilities. We said 81, 152, that's great for commercial. The assisted living or senior homes, that's amazing, because you have a lot of, in the real estate business, you have a lot of people downsizing from big homes and farms and things like that, wanting something like that, and they're very hard to come by. And when you do, you're on a waiting list. I mean, that's probably a lot of people know. So I feel like it's a great opportunity for the city.
Mayor?
Yes, sir.
This sounds like we're beating a dead horse. What they're proposing is phenomenal. Cameron, Ms. Gatz is exactly right. But again, the cart is out in front of the horse. We all sit here and we know that growth is coming. We all sit here and we know 540 days when the highway opens up. There's no secret. I mean, our land values have doubled since I moved out here. I bought ground here in 13, and my ground value has doubled since I built. So, I mean, I get what's happening. We don't have code enforcement to watch the quadplexes, the duplexes, the triplexes, and the commercial building. We don't have anybody for code enforcement. We don't have anything in place to do these things if we're going to grow forward.
Are you talking about like a city inspector?
There you have it. I know when I had one on when I built, I got a moonlighter from El Reno that showed up in his El Reno city truck. As long as you split him the cash, he didn't even look.
How much did you slide it?
I think he gets the job applications right now.
But my point being.
No, we've had conversations about, doing this.
We're also talking, we're 2 weeks away from having our comprehensive plan, all of those things. Those things, in my humble opinion, need to be in place. I welcome the growth. I know the growth is coming. I'm excited for the growth to an extent, but at the same time, it's like what Cameron said. I want it done the right way. I was talking to somebody a minute ago. You drive down 152, there's $500,000 and $750,000 properties all the way up and down that road. I don't want something that's going to take away from that. I want something that's going to increase that. I want something that's going to play at that level and continue to grow. If you really want to grow the town, if you really want the town to thrive and do something, then go fix the school. When the school, people come to a school. Now, what the gentleman said earlier, rooftops bring commercial, well, school systems bring rooftops. When the school system is top-notch, they'll come. Your board member right there is shipping his kids out of town because they get better opportunities.
So's the mayor, for the record.
Yep.
But it's
Might
again,
get stay here.
Yeah.
No, I 100% get that, but as
So,
board
all
members
I'm
here,
saying is-
we don't have any sway on how that school works.
Yeah, the school all state.
No, I mean, it's a local board.
Yeah,
I mean,
you have a school board here.
But take that up, but city inspectors, and
We've talked about the city inspector before. Remind me of the conversation, it goes back to, well, what was discussed was, how much of that liability do we wanna bring upon the town? If we bring on an inspector, versus if we don't have an inspector, we're not liable for those things. And I know that may sound like we're trying to cut corners, but that's not it at all. I know I would love to have one tomorrow. I know he was the one that brought that. He was sitting at a lunch and overheard two builders talking and bragging about the fact that if you go build in Union City, you know, you can get away with more out there, you know, and that's the kind of behavior we don't want. I mean, and we understand these things, and we know these things. What is really difficult, and we try now to share all of our numbers at the beginning of every meeting, it's, for the first time, COVID was very tough on us. We had a lot to get through in COVID, but we have grown our bank accounts. We're gonna go through some trials coming up, but the fact is we only have so much money to work with. And unlike in my private sector business, where I can go out and, you know, produce extra sales or increase my sales or add new customers or do different things, here, we're so reliant upon, you know, for the school, they need more rooftops, you know, for the town, we need more businesses, we need more tax revenue. We're trying to cover the police departments. Luckily, our fire department has a special tax that helps cover them. I mean, the bills are tight. I mean, it's extremely tight. So every time we go to...
You're not gonna get the money until the next census anyway for school.
Yeah.
So that's how it's allocated.
Well, I agree with Jason doing it, wanted to do all this.
Yeah.
When did we list the land? When did we put the land up for sale? I didn't know the land was up for sale.
2 months ago, I saw it.
Yeah, it's been listed.
Yeah, I looked at it 2 months ago.
I just
They
didn't.
want to develop, I just wanted to.
But I was told by you, sir, that you didn't want any duplexes, triplexes, because I offered the same thing to you word verbatim.
When?
You said you didn't want those on the back road, to me.
On what road?
On the back of that property.
The one up here on the front?
That you bought, the only property I'm talking that you bought, the 14 acres.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
There
on
was
the back of the road.
another one down the street, but I don't remember that conversation specifically, so forgive me, but no, we would prefer to see residential houses. I mean, but again, I'm one vote. But more than anything, we need businesses.
This is just my personal experience. I've built and I've re-roofed and I'm all over the state. And I know in a situation, and if it's just like the, you know, code enforcement, stuff like that, individual jurisdictions can only supersede the state. So like in an issue like this, with 540 days from the time that road is gonna be built, yeah, fair, somebody's moving in 540 days. Every month this goes on, it's another month, it's something, you know, so with Jason's proposing, Jason's gonna be financing this deal, or, you know, or putting this, you know, the group of the deal. So, you know, with the 540 days and, you know, with the way everything's moving and with the code base, I do know that we have taken tons of thoughts into the logistics of to the water, and to, as far as, like I said, I talked to my buddy who found out the logistics of the water pressure, the 6-inch line. I know where it turns to a 4-inch line. I know, you know, we've thought about these things through and through. We're prepared for the horse whenever it comes. You know, as far as for that 14 acres, I can't really say much for it. Now, I've thought about as far as whenever if we put 30 homes, you know, mail, you know, that's extra 30, you know, something small. But I didn't take as far as that. Take as far as cell phone towers. I mean, all those things, because all that stuff is an impact on the community. You know, as far as the 14 acres, I think that's gonna be a slow enough transition, even over a year and a half, 2 years, or 3 years. That's something super simple for the city to adapt to, as opposed to several hundred homes, which is quite a bit different deal, you know. But all of it is eventually gotta happen. I mean,
Is it on Zillow?
I don't think so, it's not public.
It's not
Well,
public?
no, it's not on that public site.
Is it just
On
on the
Zillow.
MLS, or is it just, I'm just trying to, I don't even know what, I'm just trying to do research.
No, it's just a pocket.
Okay.
All right, do we have a motion?
I do not, I wanna see drawings. I don't wanna do anything personally without drawings and a better understanding of exactly what's taking place. That's what I want as much as anything.
We're 10G, we're approving cameras.
Oh, yeah, oh, sorry, that's, yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
my bad. Let me back
Yeah,
up.
I was on 10S.
I was too. 10G, listing brokerage agreement, consideration possible approval, denial, amendment, revision, or acceptance of agreement between Town of Union City and Cameron Gas, and Homestead Realty for sale of town-owned property.
Mayor, could you repeat that? I know it's back there. Could you repeat that?
Consideration of possible approval, denial, amendment, revision, or the acceptance of the agreement between Town of Union City and Cameron Gas of Gas Homestead Realty for sale of town-owned property.
This is just for her, let's put it up.
Yeah.
I make a motion, we approve 10G.
Second? Second. Motion and a second, all those in favor? Aye, motion approved. All right.
Yeah, I have some stuff tucked in there.
Doug and Cameron to work with them as far as plans and to submit to the board. Instead of being directed to you.
So what I would do now is I would work with the buyer and I would get everything potentially in set up. We would go through engineering, contracts, get everything in place so that we can present all of that to you moving forward. This is just a kind of a small,
Concept.
a small rendering.
Yeah, very small. And if anybody wants to view these, this isn't an actual plan, it's just nothing more than a concept of an idea.
You're still 4 months out from having a final plan.
Yeah, it's just very,
Yeah.
we don't own the property, so we can, we're not gonna spend a bunch of money.
I used to do the land acquisition for those.
There wasn't even a room.
Most important thing is to get the land posted and then.
I'll send it when you do that, Cameron.
Then anybody should bring in a plan.
Correct.
So he can,
Yeah.
right there, he can bring.
They'll take them to her, correct?
Yeah.
They won't
Correct.
bring them to
So,
us.
yeah, they'll come to me and I'll certainly have everything ready to present to you.
Right.
So that way, it kind of
Mark,
doesn't waste your time.
make sure Jacob heard. Jacob, can you repeat everything you just said to Jacob?
I'm fine, if I do that now, she's getting the list, I'm great, I can pick it up, yeah,
Okay.
great, I just didn't.
And again, it's, as a town, we have to present it, and then the ideas have to come to us, and then give everybody equal opportunity.
Do we, and then after that, Jason knows too, I sat on for 5 acres out there. I mean, and we've had this talk, when you're asking, we need to bring her a plan for growth and do all this, there might be time we have to sell on that land. As an investor, you bought it, y'all wanted to invest it. Those are decisions, like you're telling us to come here and say that Walmart's coming, McDonald's is coming, this and that.
Yeah.
We can't tell you that. I don't know what magical wand y'all want us to spin as developers or anything. We can't do that. All we can come do is buy land, try to chop it up. I think those are all great ideas. I was told no by a board member, that's a different thing. But I think those are all great ideas. But you can't, in my opinion, you can't sell it to Mr. Russell and say, this has to be, I need this up in 90 days. That's.
Yeah, we've never said that.
But you're telling them to have a plan of what's going on.
Yeah, we need to have an idea or a
Plans
concept of what
change every
the
day, don't
plans
commercial.
are.
If you zone it commercial,
Yeah.
you have your code to go by. If you zone it residential, you have your code to go by. That's what my point is saying, is selling it. If you want your, or, we're not talking variances right now. If you want your frontage up as commercial, you say, we're gonna sell this as commercial
Yeah,
property.
and originally, we split that property up into 3 pieces with that.
So, I mean, if you can, what you're saying though, listen, you're asking for us to bring what we're going to do. In my opinion, all you can say is, then, I want this front, residential, industrial, or whatever, because times are changing. It might be a dang insurance company this week, it might be a haircut someone next week. I mean, I've had 3 people look at my storage building to run a barber shop. Every one of them's backed out. I gave them Union City price rent for the first year of $100 a month. I'm just telling you, you guys up there think this is just so easy sometimes. It's not. Times change and times go different. Just understand the expectations you're putting on people.
Well,
When you're not
you should know
investing.
your average traffic, so you know what type of business categories to go
Do
after.
what, for me, sir?
You should know the average traffic and impressions, so the traffic count, the impressions, walk-in potential, and then you take those numbers and extrapolate which businesses target that demographic.
Oh, okay. Do you have businesses out here?
Most of mine are Choctaw, Hera, and Edmond.
Okay.
So he knows what he's talking about.
Oh, and California, if you count San Diego, but that's like, it's California. I hate that place.
All right. 10H, interlocal agreement, consideration of possible approval, denial, amendment, revision, or the acceptance of an interlocal agreement between the Town of Union City, Canadian County District 2 and Rancho State.
No action on that.
Do you have a default timeline that you have to list that for public office?
Okay. Ordinance number 310I.
with.
Ordinance number 4570.
You're gonna list that, and then that's.
Consideration and possible approval, denial, amendment, revision, or acceptance of ordinance 357, establishing a fee schedule for mowing and cleaning up of vacant properties.
Potential time plans to be submitted. Like where this is gonna.
Y'all already put that together?
Yeah.
We actually have been typically,
Guys, we're trying to,
been working on the abatements of some property, trying to get them cleaned up. Because it didn't specifically have a strike schedule, so I asked permission to work on one, complete one. That was fair, working with David Jones, who's going ahead and do the property, and then we sent it to Tom for him to review, and that's what we're presenting to you tonight. We don't have to do very many of those, most of them we find, you know, if they don't keep their yard cleaned up. This one, because it was abandoned, and it was becoming quite some hazard.
Is it an hourly rate, or is it like just a per hourly?
Hourly and per person.
For like lawnmower, for weed eater,
so
Fair.
if you're working on, if you're working on a property for 1 hour, you're charging that, all those added up together for 1 hour.
depends on like what's there.
Yeah.
Like for instance, if I remember right, the first one we had one lawnmower, I think it was just me and Hunter, I think it was, but,
So if you and Hunter, y'all still count as workers, or only the DOT employees?
we were city employees, if workers would be the inmates with us.
Okay.
They were both missing that day.
Oh, I see town employees,
Hunter
okay,
and David
okay.
both did.
I see, okay.
What's the city tractor and that batwing running out?
That, I hadn't done that was just lawnmowers and weed eaters.
Yeah, but what's the batwing run, like if we just didn't mow, what are you gonna charge us to come mow our place?
Oh. I don't even know. I ain't gonna lie, I actually took it over there and knocked that down first, and then went back and looked at it, all, but. Well, he's part of
It's not something we'll have to use very often,
No.
but I feel like it's very important that it's.
Yeah.
I need something.
I don't have any issues with it, you guys see any issues with it?
And then we take it to court and file it, and hopefully when it sells, get paid.
They have already reached back out to me, my understanding is sending checks in the mail. They have taken back over responsibility for the property now.
The bank.
Yeah, the bank that took it back.
Oh, the bank, okay,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah.
And
It's not,
the
it's
bank
not
said there's a
local.
check on the way?
Yes.
Okay.
It's not local. I sent the pictures, I sent the invoices, and we got back.
Funny story though, we did it, and then was getting ready to leave, and the company was supposed to do it, showed up, unloaded the lawnmower, made a circle, guy got the weed eater out, they loaded up and tried to charge him.
They sent,
Oh.
they actually sent pictures to the company telling them they had mowed it. I had already picked up the phone and called them, that's not what happened. They didn't get paid.
I make a motion to, accept ordinance 357.
I'll second it.
Motion and second, all those in favor? Aye.
Thank you.
Table 10J, 10K, conditional use permit, G-Berg property. Wanna give your spiel?
Yes, sir. Had a gentleman reach out to me, well, a little over a month ago, has a business in El Reno, sells the buildings that were kinda right across the street on Mr. Russell's place before he put the ice machine in, the portable building. Looking for a place, their building sold, wanted to do on the storage with the road shutting down. I told him I don't have the storage, I'd ask the city if you'd allow me to do it here. Talk to you guys, sorry I couldn't be here, flew to Vegas, love Vegas. But setbacks, I talked to him about, he's all okay with what the planning board said on the setbacks behind the tree, off the north road there. I did talk to the gas company, shut the old gas line off that ran across the middle line, that happened this week. So there is no more metal line. I don't think it's right on how they just cut it off and leave it above the ground and tell you that's yours to deal with, and there's no gas running through, but that's a whole different story. But the gas line is fine now, all I got to do is figure out the electric.
How long do you?
I asked for a year, I didn't know that it was 500 days. I might come back and, if it goes good, I might come back and ask for it to be zoned commercial. I think that would make 3 or 4 of the board members happy I know of. So, I mean, this is a good start, is what I'm asking.
So, 1 year?
Yeah, and all we're gonna use is the front northeast corner of my property. line where that road goes through it from, is that Third Street? I need to straighten that road up anyway with the sewer line. That northeast corner up front where the grassland is what they would like to use.
Jacob, do you know if there's gonna be an office?
They're going to put a building, call it an office, in case they need to come out here and sell, lock it up. And then
No utilities will be needed at this time.
Right, maybe electricity, which is right down there, and they can drop a pole.
Someone had asked me
But,
that.
right, but the only thing, they did tell me they're going to drop an office, use one of their buildings as an office, and then that's where they'll come out and meet people, is how they do it.
Water or anything like that.
As of right now, we don't.
Yeah, it's there.
And I found some cistern holes out there that I didn't know what to do.
Okay, so that's for 10J. Does anybody have any questions in regards to that? Anybody have any issues?
10J was text.
Huh?
10J.
Oh, sorry, you're right, okay, so 10K. Does anyone have any issues with that at all? Very good. I make a motion, we approve 10K for a 1-year conditional use permit for G. Burke Properties located at 209 North Main here in Union City.
Second. Motion and second, all those in favor? Aye. Motion approved.
Thank you, man.
How many are they gonna put on there roughly?
No idea. I just told them the evening, they have to be off by Wednesday, and I said I wouldn't know until tonight, and I really thought it was tomorrow night, because I told them I wouldn't know until tomorrow night. You got an extra day? I should be happy.
All right. Number 11, Department of Union City Police.
Yes, sir.
Anything to report?
No. Nothing other than what Chief already put on paper.
Okay. 11A, the Banner School SRO agreement.
Did we talk about whatever the request is for the police department, whatever, I mean, I don't know what's going on.
So basically what they'll do, let me see,
I mean, I just heard a lot of things said the first time I come through, I apologize.
now, so
Oh, feel free to ask questions.
what they do is they give us a deal that shows the amount of traffic stops and
Oh.
things like
And I
that.
think the chief posts them online as well, so
okay.
it's just a level of transparency the police department's trying to provide to the community, letting them know, how many people they pulled over, how many were actually written citations, different types of illegal activity that took place within our community, just to kind of see, this is what our department's accomplishing, monthly.
It is online, sir?
And that's
Yes,
my
ma'am,
violation.
Chief posted on Facebook.
Yeah.
I'll go up there and look at it, sir.
Okay.
So on that deal, it says purchase request, but there's no action on it because they're not asking to purchase anything.
And we do this for each department within the town. That's the first one.
11A, Banner School SRO agreement. So Banner has requested that we fill the SRO position again.
It's a renewal basically from last year, or just,
The rate that we're charging is I believe we've changed the rate.
Yes, he's charging more this year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that was what he told me was the big one.
so for those of y'all that do not know, I think it was last year was the first year Banner Schools had approached, our chief, to start allowing one of our officers to stay on duty at Banner Schools. They're kind of in a no-man zone right there between Oklahoma City, El Reno, and us. So they drew up an interlocal agreement between the two, or mandatorial agreement between the two. And they basically, their board approves to pay us for that individual for that period of time.
All right, do I have a motion for the SRO agreement?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second
To
it.
approve it.
To approve it. Bob seconded.
All those in favor? Aye. Motion approved.
Tom, you reviewed that, right?
Yes.
Number 12, Department of Union City Fire.
So we had our first, open house, and went really well, stayed really busy the whole time.
I would say the kids love riding in the truck, but I think their parents like it better than school. That's all right, it went really well, had a great time with that. Been pretty consistent as far as calls, it was 22 last month, so. Hopefully, within the next couple of months, we'll have some numbers for that new truck we've been saving for years. Questions?
How did your, Dill's fire station go?
That's what he was just saying.
The parents wanted to do this. Yeah, well, no, did you get any people?
Oh, as far as getting people? Yeah, we've actually, just had another one apply, so that would be 5 new ones in the last month or so.
Good.
One of them's full-time Oklahoma City guy that wants to get on with us, and that's now allowed, so that's good. He lives over on, Alphaville, just south of 152, so he'll be handy. So full-time guys only work 11 days a month, so.
He can also probably help with training.
Yeah, well, he's fairly new, so.
Oh, is he?
But he's coming in with open mind, which,
Yeah.
we love that, and we will take from him, and he can take from us both.
That's why I had to shave, I couldn't fit.
Yep, he's getting ready. Won't seal.
I don't know if I can pass the physical.
I can pass it, you can pass it.
Start sending you to the gym in Purdy.
Oh, man.
And even though it's not, I mean, it is fire and it isn't, but, obviously the Fourth Fest coming up, we'll be doing the fireworks show. We will be shifting that over to the east a little bit, to kind of where the house was, where his old house. It'll be in that area, right behind it, we're out on the land, because we were told we can't use the land we've been on anymore, so.
Okay.
We had to shift east a little bit, but, cool. Still be a good shot, a good view at least. And if you don't know, I don't know if it's on here or not, but the Fourth Fest, is it on there?
I'm gonna do this.
Okay. It's coming up.
Number 13, Department of Union City Emergency Management.
So, the siren on, 59th and Maple, took a lightning strike. And, he's getting me a quote. We realized at that point, we get Michelle, that they're not covered in insurance.
Correct.
So.
Although I have put it on, and I'm just waiting for them to get back with me
Right.
that it's covered.
Right, so.
But this strike.
This one won't be.
Yeah.
So I don't have a clue on the price on that yet. As well as the antenna, something at the water tower got struck. It took out my security cameras that I use to monitor, bulk water, as well as, it didn't take the radios down, but it jacked with them. So we had a guy come out Friday and put his meter on, and, it's supposed to put out 1 to 2, it's putting out 14 to 15, so it's not supposed to do that. So apparently he thinks that Coax got a hole in it or something like that, so we're gonna get that fixed. So all these storms have been kinda rough on it, but anyway, all the other sirens are still working, just that one, and we're gonna get a quote. Unfortunately, it's the newest one we got.
And that one's where?
59th and, Maple.
All right. Department of Union City Water Sewer.
On the sewer side, that's me too, by the way. On the sewer side, we had a pre-bid conference, when did last week, I don't know what it was, anyway, and there was a ton of interest, he was shocked, I think there was 8 or 9 companies here to bid on that project, and that's the project we're talking about, where we have to install the extra gate.
You just take them on a show and tell, basically?
Yeah. Part of that is required, they can't bid on a project if they weren't here. So, maybe not all of them will bid, but they had to be here. So myself, the architect, and those guys came out and went over all the things, and we went down there and looked at it. And then there'll be a addendum, and I've got a bunch of paperwork on that for the next one, but the idea is have all the bids back before the next meeting, and everything ready for y'all, that way we can, pick a bidder, so to speak. On the water side, back to the sewer, but all the rain we've had and everything, our inflow from rainwater is almost nil. If you remember, 2 or 3 years ago, before we started working on it, or 4 years ago it was, on a hard rain, we might get 200,000 to 300,000 gallons a day. The most I got was 48,000, I think. So we've made a huge improvement on the rainfall.
Are all the manholes done, everything's updated, all that stuff's completed?
So everything that we can fix with I&I is done.
Best we can. I mean, there may be some places where there'll be like a cracked line with some water getting in it, but it's so minimal. No matter what you do, you're gonna get some.
Yeah.
If we start getting more, we'll test accordingly, but as of right now, we're in really good shape. Now, we haven't had that 100-year flood we get every 2 or 3 years neither, but, we have had a ton of rain, and it's been really good, so. On the water side, our monthly test, which is the bad stuff that can hurt you, is always clear. The quarterly test, which is the TTHMs, and, basically that's the leftovers from the chlorine they treated with, so to speak. And if you don't know, we buy all of our water from El Reno, we don't touch it. We have no control. We just, like you lived in El Reno and open your faucet, we do the same thing, it comes through a meter to us. As you know, we've been above the limit on the tests, which we really can't do nothing about. Then that one month, we jumped way down here, and we thought, hey, we're good. No, last month we went back up again. I've got some paperwork I have to submit, which I'll get with you on, but we come up with a plan with the engineer. He got with Houston's engineer, because they're having the same exact problems, almost same exact numbers, and they also purchased system from them on this end. And we're working out a solution, so to speak. And, one thing we're gonna do for the next, we have to turn in some paperwork saying, what are you gonna do to fix this? So, the one thing we're gonna do is do a test every month rather than every 3 months. The two in between are called non-compliant. Just something you have to do. We'll do one at their place and one here. And we're gonna get to the bottom of it, it's gonna take some time, so. It's one of those deals, if you drink 100 gallons a day for 120 years, you know, your fourth grandkid may have an extra toe or something, so it's forever.
I noticed recently they have, cranked up the chlorine.
Yeah, you smell it, and that's supposed to burn it out. So, what they call a burnout when they clean the lines.
Yeah.
So that's what they do that.
I have a question. I don't know which one to ask this to, but is there like, chlorine being put in the water or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, there is?
No, we don't, but El Reno does.
Oh,
We buy all of our water from El Reno, and that's how they clean the water, it's part of the process,
I was wondering why you keep it.
Do you taste it?
Yeah.
Do you live in town, or?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, it's,
Yeah, and recently.
what they call a burnout, what they told me it's called, and they just, I guess they raised it a little bit, I don't know, because my meters, went up a little, so, it's still safe, it just, has a little smell. Guess you fill your swimming pool, we'll have to add to it.
Alright, 14A, extension on water payments. Consideration and possible approval, denial, amendment, revision, or the acceptance of allowing an extension on water payments. What a toss. Alright, I believe that as a city, we are a business. We're a business that's in place to make money so that we can continue providing the services that we provide. There's been a lot of strong feelings thrown around today about, water extensions and so on and so forth. So, it would be my motion that we allow 2 extensions per year. What's y'all's thoughts?
I agree with that, but I also think there should be a 10-day grace period. However you guys wanna do it, like either before and I know the ordinance doesn't currently say that, so maybe there would have to be a change to the ordinance, but a 10-day grace period from when the day is due till when the fee actually kicks in. The overages fee.
What do you mean?
I'm just throwing an idea out there.
No,
Yeah,
I think there is.
So it's due on the 10th.
Right.
And they would have, for instance, until the 20th before there is an actual fee added to their.
Before late fees.
Before the late fees added.
So right now, the way it's been handled.
Correct.
All this
Because
time.
we're going back to what the ordinance actually says, correct?
The ordinance,
Yeah.
for this month.
Doesn't allow for that.
Yeah.
Where does the 10 AM thing come in at?
Do what?
Where does the 10 AM thing on the 10th come in on that?
Is that in the
That
ordinance?
was the old, that's how it's been done for 100 years, and we had to follow that for the last time, but now we're that's what we're coming back, trying to find out what the news is.
I think it should be
Cause-
at the end of
Yeah,
business close.
end of business day, close.
Yeah, well, so, let me see if I can get it right, 'cause I agree there needs to be some, grace, so to speak, in a way, but you also have people that just live on it, I hate to say it, that's true to do. And like, for instance, we have 249 meters active. I put out 38 cutoff notices yesterday. That's more than 10%, that's a bunch. So be it, most of them take care of it, but, there's a lot that live on, I don't know how to say it.
And as a reminder, they're not being cut off for the current month.
No,
The cutoff
at that point,
notice,
it's a month behind.
when the cutoff
Or that's
notice.
almost 2 months behind.
When the cutoff notice arrives on that person's doorstep, they are now it's been a whole other month since that bill's been due.
But with the current ordinance in that book, says that won't happen anymore, because it says, you get your bill right at the first, it's when it's in the, it's due the 10th. At that point, late fee comes on, I'm just saying what the ordinance says, and on the 20th, if they're not paid, they're shut off. Actually, it doesn't say the 20th, it says 10 days after the 10th for some reason, rather than saying the 20th, but the 20th is still.
And you can correct me if you need to, but I believe it actually reads that it's due by the tenth, which means you get a late fee on the tenth.
Yeah.
Because it's due by
It
the
was
tenth.
so confusing today,
So
we
we
had-
need to make clarity on an ordinance, I need to know.
Yeah, and so
So-
I don't see a problem if they pay a late fee.
Yeah, no,
They're
that's the difference.
But should the late fee
If the
be
10th
due
is on the
immediately on the
Friday,
10th, or should the late
oh,
fee,
yeah, you're
they
just
have a
on
grace
the
period
Monday
first?
of it.
Yeah.
You see what it's saying? And
Then
that's
we
why
go
I think
down
we need
10
to
days,
be
and we'll
clear.
go with the ordinance that
Yes,
they-
and that's what you
Yeah.
did.
So you've got them at home.
We tried to do everything we could do, I don't want to turn it.
Jamie.
They did,
Yeah,
I think the water bill, so maybe I can have an opinion
In the bill.
on it. If we don't have the late fee on the tenth, what makes you pay it when it's due also? Then that's no different than saying, okay, it's actually due the 20th, if you're not getting a late fee till then anyway.
I mean, if I get credit,
Put it on our door.
yeah, I gotta pay the interest.
A lot of them do great.
They already had 30 extra days.
They want to
Grace
grace
period.
Huh?
So they already had 30 extra days, why give them a grace period?
You're
Yeah,
only,
no, no, no.
on the first though, so you only have like 9 days.
No, we're not referring to cutoff, we're always referring
That's,
to.
you're right, Jeff, that's what the ordinance actually says when you put it that way. It's by the tenth. So if it's not paid on the ninth, the tenth, you're getting a
Simple to
late
do that. Well,
fee. So from the first, you're right,
Seems
from
like a
the
week and
first
a half,
to the
if I get
ninth.
mine in the mail, a week and a half is a pretty short amount of time to get down here and pay it. I mean, if you're
Yep.
gone on vacation or something, a lot of people leave for a week at a time. I'd like to see the water bills go out earlier, so you have 2 weeks at least, like 14 days before you hit a due date.
Can I invite you all to come see what I do, and then see when you can help me schedule a day and do it a little bit earlier?
Read 'em on the-
I'll take all the help I can get on figuring
Read them
that
on
out.
the 20th. Keep that.
So we can pay online, right, but we
Yes.
just can't leave a card to reoccur though,
Right,
right?
and
Right.
you can't see your balance online right now. 'cause
But that's something we're working on.
And it may not be as a big a deal for some, but, I mean, I know.
I'd love to just, I mean, it's
Yeah.
easier for me just to,
Yeah.
for how I run it, just run it as that bill and run
Yeah,
it,
but,
come out every month.
but there are people that live on budgets.
I agree, no, I agree.
And one thing that, like, trust me, my wife pointed out to me quickly, she would prefer to pay online, because it's easy, but it charges you, I don't remember what the charge is.
Hold up,
It's,
right?
No, it's higher than that.
That's right, it's more online.
It's more, yeah, and so if you go on there and pay, I think it's close, isn't it $8 to $10, something?
Why aren't we doing that as a city if we're a business and making our own money, though, would be my question.
Yeah.
That's what I would work
Yeah.
for, and to make that $3 or $4 on top, I mean, I'm not.
I'm
We
gonna
do.
let you know that we do. Gina didn't want to accept credit cards over the phone, but I have allowed that now, and so if you wanna pay
Good to
your
know,
phone.
noted.
It's $4.
Noted. Thank you.
I also want to be clear, just so in case y'all didn't know, if they don't, but municipal and town, two totally different things. Municipal is a business, we really don't operate on tax money, we operate on, we're a company, we buy water and sell it, and then we send somebody to get you trash, and we take you dirty water and get rid of that for you. So that's how
And
municipal
it's
operates.
not, quote unquote, ran for profit, it's literally ran to cover operations.
So I've seen some,
And-
people
and-
concerned about going up, we go up exactly what El Reno goes up every time.
Yeah, we've had, I don't know how many price increases now, there was someone online that mentioned that it had gone up double since 2017. Again, right now, it's unfortunate, but El Reno has us over a barrel. I mean, there's nothing we can do. All of our water comes from El Reno. When they vote in their board meetings an increase, that comes directly to us, and we pass that increase along.
Same with the trash.
We have beat that bush almost to death, is trying to figure out other options, how to buy water. It gets complicated because you can't have two water supplies tied into the same water system supplying to the community, because at that point, if there is cross-contamination or of any kind, or if there is issues with that water, we can't stop it or trace it back to where the issue's necessarily coming from.
Are you ever planning on getting away from El Reno's water supply and doing your own?
There's no other option for us, I mean, right now, El Reno is our option. I mean, I would love the idea of having a second option, I mean, because right now, we are 100% at their mercy, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I know that.
And if their system goes down,
Yeah, or so like you back up to that.
But I will tell you that our water bills are as cheaper than anybody around too, so.
Yeah.
Just the real water district.
Yeah, they're,
Except the real water.
Yeah.
Except you spend $7 grand to get there.
Yeah.
So let's just average that in for a few years.
But you get top-notch service.
But back to.
We even talked about, you know, back in the day, they had wells, and our water from this community came from the wells, but that was extremely hard water.
Yeah, and, of course, I wasn't here then, but of course, the regulations so different. Back then, they pumped it to a tank, pumped it to town, it was done. Now it's a total different ballgame. You'd have to have a water treatment plant for about $50 million.
So let's get back on track on these water payments.
So we're open, and we have a place where we can put it in the ordinance now, but right now, the ordinance reads, it's due on, before 10th, so technically, when she comes in on the 10th, and or next business day, obviously, which is Saturday, so supposed to add the late fees right then, and then, on the 10th, and then, on the 20th, if they're not paid, we would, put a cutoff notice out, and then the next one, it used to say 24 hours, but you can't put 24 hours, because I don't ever know exactly when I'm gonna get them put out, you know what I mean, get called in.
Ryan, you asked
So-
about the 10 a.m., that does give me a chance for anybody that put it in the Dropbox overnight, to not
That's
get
where
that
got
late fee.
established. But, we're open for, you know, if you wanna,
So
to me, it doesn't make any sense to say it's due the 10th, but not, no piece of the 20th, it ought to just be due when it's due, if you wanna add to it.
So
15
if
or whatever.
I don't make my water bill by the 10th, how much is my late fee?
10%.
10% of the total bill,
So
roughly
on
10
average,
bucks.
$10.
Yeah. And I will tell you, yours is an example today, I'll just say it out loud.
Yeah.
Yours came
Perfect example.
because it got sent from the bank or whatever, right?
It got sent to the PO box,
Yeah, well,
and
thank
we
you.
don't have that, it didn't get forwarded to us, it got brought to us after I should have put late fees
Yeah.
on today.
So it was,
Yeah.
But it was,
They sent it to the PO box.
Did you have it?
David asked
The
me
mail
to
said
do
that.
the late fees till tomorrow.
I'm good.
because today was such a
Yeah,
weird day.
just for everybody to know, we no longer have a PO box. So if you're mailing something to us, you have to send it to 101 North Allen.
I put mine in the mail today, matter
To
of
the
fact.
PO box?
I think that's who she
That's-
had in mail to.
That's what we're saying is, for some reason, the post office, even though we did it properly, they held on to it.
Was
And
that the
we
last mailbox, would that be the address that she put out on the bill? Because she mailed it out today.
Is it a,
I'm not sure, we have to recheck.
We're gonna double check, they just posted it
No.
last month, so some of the bills were.
Mine got mailed out today, I
We
don't know.
did it, we didn't do it.
We'll get it
on
eventually.
purpose.
we do get it, it's just, that's what you're saying, it's not efficient, like.
No,
it used to be.
that's fine, I'm just, I'll remind her too.
Back to what we're talking about, Keith, and you guys. So, what I'm saying is, it makes it really hard if you say it's due the 10th, but no late fees till the what? So, to me, it ought to be just do whatever day y'all deem, and I don't have no problem with being 10 more days, more than 10 days at all. Maybe the 15th, I'm just throwing it out there, whatever. But at that point, then it's due, you know, after the 15th at midnight, so to speak, or whatever that number you come up with, 20th, whatever, is when the late fees hit. Not, it's due one, but not really late until 10 days later makes it tough, you know, 'cause it really ain't never due if it ain't, does that make sense? Just my thoughts on that. I looked up several, we called actually, what we call it, Minko, Calumet, and Binger. Oh, my soul, Binger. But anyway, that's a different story.
The top of my bill says 101
So,
Oh.
however, you know,
We looked at the handwriting.
and we wanna make those due and when, and then late fees, and then cutoffs, so to speak, all needs to be established. That's why we have this resolution that can be done tonight. And then, again, if you wanna work, extensions, so to speak,
Do you guys want the water shut off the same month the bill's due?
Makes it a lot easier for me, that I don't have to track who doesn't have.
I will tell you-
It may last month, and I get paid this month.
when it was set up originally, it's $150 deposit if you're renting and $100 if you own the place, deposit. When it was set up originally, that would cover a couple of months of water if somebody set up service in the moose, right? But now that won't even cover a month. So if you get too far into it, somebody, gets into where they're in 2 months into it, then leave, then we're gonna lose. Does that make sense? So, if you wanted to go till the 20th, that'd be fine, and maybe let's say the numbers, 25th be the cutoff, or whatever that day is, or 28th, or whatever, but I think it should be probably before the next.
Before the next bill comes out.
And I will tell you, I'm not trying to, I'm the most, I don't say, but anyway, I'm the most passionate about this. I really go to the dentist, turn somebody off. I keep saying it, I mean, and I know people struggle, but I do tell you, almost every year, somebody comes in and takes them off completely, and they start over, and then it just keeps happening again. So it ain't like it's years of build up. So there's compassion, but there's also, if you don't have something, it'll keep getting run up and extended and,
If I could, our resolution that we're presenting on 14B, under number 5, payment of bills, is what we're proposing.
but,
And it reads, if the payment is not being paid by the 10th of the month, the 10% late charge will be added to the bill. If the bill is not paid by the 10th of the month, water service will be shut off. A reconnect fee plus the past due amount must be paid before the meter is restored. The new part of this is extensions and agreements can be made to avoid shut-off, but must be paid no later than the 27th of the month. Signed agreements must be made at the office, only 6 extensions per customer per calendar year allowed. Bulk water bills will be mailed no later than the 25th of the
that's a
month.
separate,
Is that separate?
yeah, total separate.
Okay, so what we're addressing right now is that part, extensions and agreements can be made.
Well, that's what's currently, those numbers, the first numbers you gave is currently what the book says. If we're gonna adjust it, we can do that now.
So the book says 6 extensions?
No, not at all, it doesn't say anything about it. It says the 10th and 10 days after. So, with this open, we can, I mean, to me, 10 days is a little quick, but, if you wanted to extend that, they're due the
I think it is,
14th,
just because,
whatever,
just like what Jeff said,
Yeah.
and there's people that leave town and they're gone for a week and a
So
half.
whatever number we want that to be now, we can say, but I say, if you say it's due the 10th, but you don't get no late fees till the 15th, that really, it ain't due the 15th.
Yeah, I mean, whatever day we,
What days are billed in there,
Ours? I don't even know that answer.
so if I get late fees, is it every day? So I get $10 a day?
No, it's just the one time.
I can tell you, Tim,
What's the reconnect fee?
50, if we go turn it off. So again, we can extend that due date to whatever y'all deem, 14th, that's 2 weeks, I'm gonna say the number,
believe the 20th in play. You know,
So if it's
go after the 14th, but still make the cutoff the 20th.
It's 14th, they're due at the 14th, not, midnight, so to speak.
Yeah.
So midnight of 15th, and then 21st be cut off, that's 7 days. I don't know, I'm gonna stand numbers, whatever y'all think, but.
That's also when you go read the next meter too.
Yeah, we read on the 20th, so far, close to it as we can.
Yeah, I kinda like
20th on
that.
Sunday, we'll read on Monday, 20th on Saturday, I'll read on.
I'm just saying.
Takes me about 6 minutes to read on that system, so.
We're talking about keeping it simple with your billing cycle. Your billing
Yeah.
cycle, you go.
And the reason to do that is they'll read on
About
just
the
3 hours,
21st.
20th, we're trying to keep it
In
the same.
that way you're not flooding.
You're not tracking water.
I get it.
What I was saying, similar to his numbers, due on the 1st, has to be paid by the 14th, that gives you 2 weeks. If it's not paid by the 14th, then they receive a late fee, and and then it's cut off on the 21st, which makes it 3 weeks.
What about the 6 extensions per customer?
I think 2's enough, 6 is way too many, it allows the abuse of
I'd
it.
say in general, because some people might get a broken line or something, maybe.
Well, that's something else I was gonna bring up. So, in the past, you know, you're gone for a week, and you left the water on, or the faucet breaks under the house or whatever, and you come home, your water bill is $852.16. But the point is, in the past, we've let them, and I don't know if we should, but that's what's happened, how I was trained. We've let them pay that out, like say $100 a month on top of their bill or something like that, till they can catch it up. Is that something, I know it's a case by case basis, but, you know, it's something to think about as well.
I believe something like that would have to be something to be brought before the board.
Yeah,
That's what I think too.
yeah, but that's just something that can come up, so, yeah.
Especially those freezes we're having.
Or, you know, and maybe have it where we can do,
But they're gonna have to show.
Have an emergency.
Not that they have to show, but we have to be able to show a $200 bill, $200 bill, $200 bill, $800 bill.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
yeah.
but that's brought to
They
the
just
board,
started-
and then the
Then
board,
go back down.
then this
Yeah.
board or any future board decides whether or not there's a grace to.
I have something to say about that.
Yes.
I had a friend that filled a swimming pool in her house during one of the things, and guess what? Insurance paid for all that water.
Really?
She filled a pool?
She had 50,000 gallons of water in her house.
Oh,
She
I
was in
thought you
Hawaii,
meant she
and
actually
she
put in
came
a pool.
home, and everything had froze, and if they said it was enough to fill a pool, it was 50,000 gallons, and,
That's a big pool.
the insurance paid for all that water.
Sure, no kidding.
So then Union City isn't out the money.
Yeah, we can't, that goes back to we can't eat it, because we really don't make that much on water. We make good on bulk water to make up for the customers, but we can't just.
But
eat
bulk-
it.
I think good information to tell the homeowner, hey, let your insurance company know.
Yeah, it's got that, yeah.
Whether it be my faucet or.
It don't happen very often, but it has to be done.
Yeah, and I can see that not going
They
through
said they covered
somebody's head.
1,000 square feet less.
That's a good idea.
What?
So, just whatever,
I like two. One, yeah, two per every calendar year or our physical year?
you do calendar, it's too hard.
Okay, calendar year, okay.
Two of those. And
What happens after the two if they do two?
the 10% charge goes in on the 14th.
14th, correct?
So the bills are due on 14th now?
The bill
That's what
is
we're
due on
proposing,
the
yeah, that's
10th.
what we're talking about.
Oh, okay.
Huh?
I thought the bill due on the 10th, charges start at the 14th.
That makes it kinda,
It makes no sense.
it really don't make sense.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense, make it due on the 14th, yeah.
So on the 15th, Jamie,
So mails out on the
that's when the
1st.
late charges start. On the 15th.
Bill 14th.
And our next business day, you know, either.
That gives everybody 2 weeks from the, cause you said you mail the bills on the
They usually
first.
get them before the first.
I mailed them before the first.
Before the first,
That
so
was
that they,
beginning
by
on the
the,
first.
by the first, they're in their mailbox. They have until the 14th to pay the bill, starting the 15th, they receive past due, and then on the 21st is when we would shut off, or the following day, Monday
Okay,
after.
so we would put a
20th
shut off
or
notice on the
21st?
20th.
And that'll cover board.
Huh?
20th or 21st?
It's saying, I'm using 21 because
You said 14th, 21th?
it's 3 weeks.
What happens?
It gives them one additional week before they
That'll
are cut off.
They've used their agreement.
That's one additional, if they're a weekly paycheck, it's one additional paycheck.
I know, but I don't think I know it's my third.
Yes.
There is no third.
Shut off. This cut off, yeah.
And I think they're reasonable, so if it were a, catastrophic, somebody in the hospital for a month, we can always bring that to the board, right? I mean, so, case by case.
There's case by case, but I think the board should be the one that oversees that.
I also wanna make sure that they are signed in the office, if the people aren't calling me on the phone and saying I need to make an agreement, they have to come in, because
Yeah,
that way they
not
have
like-
to.
yeah.
Absolutely.
We also found some, deceased people still in their name, we can't have, so
And I
we got
got
that changed.
them.
Anyway,
Alright.
And then each month to each meeting, we would like to see a list of those
You
people.
have it.
Yeah, it
I
is,
just
okay,
got the
okay,
very
okay,
end.
okay. but the board would like to see that list each month.
Of the extensions?
Just, yeah, anyone who's past due and period.
Alright, so if payment has not been made by the 14th of the month, a 10% charge will be added to the bill. If the bill is not paid by the 21st of the month, water service will be shut off. The reconnect fee plus the past due amount must be paid before the meter is restored.
So, just so I'm understanding, so, late fee starts the 15th, cutoff is actually the 22nd?
21st.
No.
21st.
If it's not paid by, so.
If it's not paid by 5 o'clock on the 20th, it's cut off on the
21st, okay.
Okay.
That keeps the cutoff rate the same as what it was.
And still do the written notice on the door with 24-hour notice?
Yeah.
No, DNA or whatever, they won't do it till the next business day or so it is.
Only 2 extensions per customer per calendar year.
The full quarter,
That's
in the
it.
same resolution, but it's
Yeah.
different.
Tell that, vote on this one first.
That'll cover board-minded,
Huh?
that will cover board-minded entities in Union City that have a board if they haven't approved their bills as well. By doing it that way.
Say that again?
It will cover being on the 14th or whatever, it will cover board-minded, entities that are in Union City that.
Because they have until the 14th to make that bill.
Because the school was having a problem with that, because they couldn't get there in time. Yeah. So let's just take care of that.
Yep. Payment has not been made by the 14th. So the bill has not been paid by the 20th, water service will be shut
There's gonna be a letter in every bill that goes out, and then a social media release.
Oh, yeah.
There was this time, but we
Yeah.
haven't had lots of people didn't read.
It's kind of weird, 'cause we had to tell them, we had to follow the code this time.
Literally had a citizen say, I don't read the stuff you put in there, I can see how much my bill is due and I pay it.
Yeah.
Literally.
Alright, so if the bill is not paid on the 20th, it will show up on the 21st.
You should slip stuff in there, we have your
2 extensions.
And, the bill's due the 14th,
Yeah.
right? So the 15th starts late fee.
Can I make sure that I please get back up on that, because people think that,
You will.
like, I'm the one that's making all this stuff.
Absolutely.
No.
Absolutely.
You can.
We
get-
blame
again,
everything on the board.
I'll.
How many people are watching right now?
Yeah.
17 right now.
Say there's 17 people got
You are always
There were
welcome
a
to
lot
get
more
out
earlier.
my cell phone number.
Yeah, sorry.
We're just gonna blame her anyway.
Huh?
We're just gonna blame her anyway.
Yeah.
Alright.
So 31, the extension of water payment.
You make that motion?
Yeah, he has all the notes.
Yeah.
I'm trying to have, make this without messing it up. Alright, 14A, I make a motion that we approve an extension on water payments with the bill being due on the 14th of the month. If the bill is not paid on the 20th, it will be shut off on the 21st. And there will only be 2 extensions allowed per customer per calendar year.
And the 15 with the first one, late charge.
Late charge on the 15th. Yes.
Oh, late charge on the 15th, I'm sorry, yes.
I'll second it.
Motion and a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved. Number 14B, Resolution 23-2401, consideration of possible approval, denial, amendment, revision, or the acceptance of fees, rates, payments, and trash collection regulations. I make a motion that we approve Resolution 23-2401. Do I have a second?
I'll second that as well.
Motion and a second, all those in favor? Aye. Motion approved. 14C, bulk water, consideration of possible approval, denial, amendment, revision, or acceptance of current past due bulk water customer invoices to be sent out certified mail and must be paid within 14 days of receipt. The customer information will be given to collections.
So, Jamie did a great job and found that we had several that hasn't paid $61,000
$61,000.
worth.
Over.
We had no idea. Anyway, So, at one point, she said her and Gina had sit down and sent out letters, and some of them came back, some didn't, so I suggest that we send out another bunch certified, which would be the right, what I looked up, that's the right thing to do, and then give them, if y'all deem 14 days, that's what I'm going with, and then, do we send them collections at that point?
Absolutely.
Cause that's a lot of, I mean, I know collections takes some money, that's a lot of money.
How do we keep those individuals from, cause it's the honor system, right? They back up and they write that stuff down?
West we could tell, there was none current.
If you, I mean, at that point, you should no longer be able to purchase water from the city until that bill's paid.
That's something we will keep well, we just didn't know it, now it will be, yes.
How are we gonna fix it?
Well, we'll not let the bills get behind,
I mean, how are we gonna keep them from backing up there and setting the truck up?
I mean.
We need to look to see if there's any technology out there that allows to put in a PIN code
Been
for
working
water
on that,
flow.
where they have to have a number.
Yeah, and each customer has a different
One thing I
number.
read, they have to have a card, it's not a credit card, but
And we
like.
can shut that off.
Find different things, but so far, but
That's crazy.
yeah, I had.
Those bills, they're around 15 grand last time I thought that.
Yeah, but that would
We're
pay for
missing
that.
60 right now.
Yeah.
so-
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's
Yeah.
definitely a positive for you.
All right, do I have a motion on 14C?
So we're just accepting 14-day.
If that's good, y'all.
Yeah, it matches our other. So I make a motion, we approve 14C for consideration approval. Go ahead, sir. Yep.
What was the late fees on bulk? Was
It's
it-
in the resolution.
Okay, all right, never mind.
Okay. So again, I make a motion, we approve 14C, that water customers' invoices be sent out certified mail and must be paid within 14 days of receipt, or customer information will be given to collection.
Do I have a second? Motion and second, all those in favor?
Aye. But let's make sure we're calling those customers between that 14 day and that collection period.
Number 15, Department of Union City Animal Control.
So, I had a number for you, but I don't have it. Anyway, we had a ton of dogs and stuff, but I do not want to see them. You know what I mean by doing that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Are they all gone?
Yeah. As of right now. I do have one kitten, but I think I got it taken a while ago, so,
Is there a kitten in there?
huh? No. She got one. But anyway, that job is busier than you realize, but right now we're doing good. Roscoe's still doing good.
They ought to be $258.
What was it? Oh, food.
I don't know, that bill.
For Roscoe?
That's the fire dog, right?
Yeah.
On the fire department.
Oh, well, but that was like 14 puppies.
Oh.
Roscoe had puppies?
No, he doesn't.
That's a talented.
Remember that regional fire car, cause mother wouldn't work, maybe?
Oh, yeah.
Did that dog you came out to pick up, did it ever find its home? It was that, little black one with like the white feet.
Yeah, I gotta be honest, I don't remember, there's so many. I've got the records of it, but I don't remember which one it was, but.
You all ate yet?
Do what?
You all ate dinner yet?
No.
Me neither.
That's why we get Domino's down the street.
All right.
But Keith got home, we didn't put that in.
Department of Union City Streets and Alley.
So I got with, David Anderson, and he's checking, he is not waiting on us for anything as far as this new road. So we're all, on our part, it's all good, he's just waiting on the engineer report, so I got with him pretty quick to make sure he wasn't waiting on us for nothing, but, so we're good there. And everything else we've already discussed on the highways and things. And, that number they were talking about earlier, about having to take care of that, is actually 5,000, but it's actually 10, we just have to sign an agreement. So we got a long ways to go before we have to take care of our streets.
Number 17.
And the flashing stop lines are in now at Banner.
Awesome.
We are, they're so nice.
Department of Union City Town Clerk Treasurer.
As David brought up, Forest Fest is 2 weeks away. This weekend coming up is Big Trash Day. So we have put flyers in mail, in the, water bills. I'm posting it on Facebook. Then we have Forest Fest coming up. Forest Fest went pretty good at his open house quite a few raffles were sold at his open house. I had some donations, silver lining in Force Fest. The raffling off is, everybody seems to really like concert tickets this time because there's a nice mixture, Aerosmith and then some country singers. So that went well. After Force Fest, we have a little break. Everybody go to the lake. And then the next thing that happens is, I think in July, I have to look it up, I don't think I have anything in my office for July. There's nothing, is there? I do need to ask about that. I probably should have put that as an agenda item though. On the fifth, when we have Thursday the 4th off, previously, you guys had okayed for us to be able to take the 5th off on our dime, instead of yours, without pay. But Jamie wasn't in her position at that time. So, do I either close the office and she still gets to work and play catch up in her office with all of this stuff and the things that she's learning? Or do I keep the office open? Or do you want her to work a set time? Like, can she have a partial day? What are her options?
Let's add that to new business.
Okay.
Alright, what else we got?
Your budget coming up?
I wanna talk about that one.
Riding through hungry, so.
That's right.
Ryan's
We'll
ready.
table it. Either way.
Alright. So the proposed budgets have been turned in.
That's on the agenda, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, 70 days.
No.
That's the big thick one.
So this proposed budget is a 17% reduction over what was proposed earlier.
You're referring to PD only?
This is across the board, correct, Michelle?
What?
17%?
I know mine's 17, I don't know about,
PD was 17.
PD's probably 17, and, David. David works on fire and municipal this
Yeah.
time.
Is your municipal at 17 also?
I'm closer to 20, but I kinda did a little different. I also took some income away and gave it back to general.
So mine really is.
My proposal on that one would be, we got 8.33%, sales tax, and I've dropped it down to 5 to give the general back. And then on the fire side, we were an even, 72,000, which is 6,000 a month, and I dropped it down to 4,000 a month, 48,000. I dropped the overall, but also dropped the income to help the general. So
Which also helps.
it wouldn't as much of a drop, but it
mine,
wouldn't be
because
up to
it's
the income,
about
does that make
20
sense?
Yeah, so with him doing that, that knocks mine to about a 20 as well, because then I can adjust.
I spoke to the auditor on the way here this morning and told her that we were approximately 17% across the board. Her suggestion was to the board to cut longevity and freeze the step raises and get us closer to that number until the audit is completed.
Did she say effective immediately, or it would be effective immediately?
When did she say the audit was gonna be completed?
So this year, or the one they're working on now is fixing to be finished. And then they'll start on the next one, and she didn't give me a set date on that. You call me.
They'll be here tomorrow, Wednesday, and Thursday. We're trying to complete 21 and 22.
And then she wants us to freeze those until she finishes 21 and 22?
I don't know, Bob.
No, she just said freeze them until the whole audit.
The whole audit is complete,
Yep.
in that timeline.
So
So all the way to 24 then.
So probably a couple of months. Guesstimating, depending on the run that they've been on.
Yeah,
2 months per year.
I think that's what they've
Pretty
been doing,
close,
about
2
2 months
months per year, so we're looking really, what is it, July, June, July,
I gotta say, that's,
August,
I got some firemen that's
October, November.
already done it free, they're gonna be,
Yeah, that's Christmas
What do you want?
present for my kids.
That's the tough conversation, and we're very aware of it.
especially when
I tried to speak with that, about that directly.
Yeah.
It's, you know, the cost associated to that.
Well, and
the kind of savings we
that's
have.
another part of it is, you know, is your longevity pay, does that come out of your money
The
that
fire,
comes
yeah.
in? Okay. So the issue is not there. The issue is general municipal, blah, 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 police, all that.
Yeah.
Fees from those.
I don't mean to separate, but you know, I didn't mean to separate like that, but it's true, it's
Yeah.
fire, that's all we get.
And if that's the case, I mean, you don't mess with the fire, you go with the other ones. 'Cause I mean, that's, for those firemen, that's about all they get.
And did you explain that to her?
I did.
And she was okay with leaving the fire department
Yep.
like it is?
Yep.
Do we have the ability, if this goes better than we hope,
We can,
back
we
pay,
can reinstate whatever
either
they want.
reinstate or,
Yeah.
so we would be asking these employees?
I believe, David, do you remember whenever we did the step raise freeze a few years ago?
It was, the 2020, yeah.
It was in the peak of COVID,
Yeah.
like when it got hit the hardest tax wise.
And whenever we reinstated that, was there back pay with that? Or did it just?
Didn't back pay, but,
It started right there.
yeah, I remember that, for sure. In there.
But did we catch up the ones that were missed during that period?
I thought somebody.
We didn't catch up, what we did was,
Able to?
yeah, we just started back when it was next to, but we did switch from, you remember we were doing it in January, which was a pain in the tail, because of,
So for instance, cause it's on their calendar year, is that right? It's their anniversary. Or
no, it's, July first.
July
Always
first, okay.
July 1st.
It was
July 1st.
January,
Beginning of-
last year, the year before last, we changed it to July, so it would match the complete budget, so remember, the budget started in July.
It was part
Yeah.
of, the issue with trying to keep up with things like that caused the problem we had.
Yeah.
It,
So we
so-
changed it to just put it
so
up.
technically went a year and a half without one, then it got caught up.
So if this goes better than planned,
It can be reinstated.
and let's say it takes 6 months to get through this, then we can reinstate it and give those raises at that time, and then they would be eligible again for their next step raise, but they would miss out on that raised income for that period of time.
Well, we're getting ready to go back, back through their budget and see if they can figure out how to give it some other way.
We've already,
We've already beat that, we've already beat
Or
that horse.
they look at it again, we don't have to figure out.
well, we have to
approve it
we have
tonight.
to approve it tonight.
You either got approved or not, or have another special, because it's gotta be done before.
But
It's on a timeline
If
down,
it doesn't get approved tonight, we go back to last year's budget, which is higher
which
than
is
this.
more than what we have now.
if we don't approve it by the first, or if we don't approve it by tonight, our normal work.
So it's January first, July first. Well, June 30th, technically.
Yeah, technically it's June 30th, because we start the new physical on July 1. So basically, you have to
what I
have
heard-
a special meeting.
Yeah, I just wanna make sure I understand that
Yeah.
for sure. So, cause what your understanding was, is if we don't approve it tonight, then we fall back to what last year's budget was, which is what we do not want. If we approve, but what you guys are saying is, we could have a special meeting between now and the end of the month to finalize this. And then we would still be meeting that July first deadline, and we would not revert to last year's or the previous year's budget.
Correct.
But the question is would anything change between now and a special meeting? Does anybody think that anything can change? I don't think so.
Adam, on the line, if you have any questions for him.
Can we tell Adam what?
He knows.
He's watching, listening?
Yeah.
So,
Is
does
that-
he have anything he wants to tell us?
Did you have anything for them? Hang on, ma'am. I won't stick you on that. I'm gonna stick you on the speaker, is that all right? Okay, you're on.
Hey guys.
Hey, how are you?
Oh, pretty well. Hey, my only concern is there's not really a reason if I'm able to cut budget by 13% already, and I'm already under budget by $162,000 this year, there's no reason to punish my staff with the step increase, if we're able to accommodate that already.
Well, according to the auditor, we can't.
Well, according to the auditor, we haven't seen any numbers.
She is producing those at the next meeting.
Next
So
normal
why
meeting.
don't we push this out to a special meeting where we can actually sit down and discuss things?
Would that be best for you? When do you come back?
Thursday, I'll be in office Thursday.
Thursday?
Yeah.
So let's do.
Is there any way she can, I know we have to pay her, but can she present to us or attend the special meeting, and if we set it for like the last week of this month?
She's gonna be here.
She'll be here.
Thursday, oh, she'll be here. She'll.
Yeah, my only
Wednesday,
concern
Thursday.
is we keep hearing the auditor says this, the auditor says that, and we haven't seen any hard numbers. So I'm not gonna go off of someone's, hunch, oh, this might be bad, when they haven't presented real numbers to us yet.
Okay.
And we don't disagree with you, Adam, trust me. I'm all for kicking the can to the last minute if we have to make sure we're making the right decision. And the more information we can get from her, the better. I don't know if it's gonna change anything, but I think the fact-finding mission's worth the trip.
Right.
I do. So, why don't we schedule this, like he said, for the last week of the month? Actually, I mean, she's gonna be here Thursday. You always wanted to do a Thursday night meeting? No.
This Thursday. But I don't know if she'll have any additional information for us by then.
I think to have,
Huh?
I think that she might need to have a little notice, but I can ask her.
We can leave this pending until tomorrow, and then whether we need to have it Thursday night or whether we need to have it in the last week of this month. This is a tough decision. It's gonna affect people and their families. I wanna have as much information as we can possibly have before we have to make that
Since she's going to be here
decision.
for the next 3 days, I could ask her.
Right. And my deal is I don't want us to make a knee-jerk reaction when we haven't had the opportunity to actually sit down as a group and discuss things.
Yeah, and realistically, like I said, this is what the auditor has suggested. What the board chooses to do is upon the board, and for me, we hired her to give us advice in these types of situations. This is the advice she's given.
I would like to talk to her again personally. I mean, if there's any way, I think she should present to the board, or we should at least be able to have a conversation with her again.
You
Now,
can go
she
there
does-
Wednesday, Thursday, she'll be here.
She does
So you-
plan on being at our July meeting to do a presentation,
Yeah.
our regular meeting.
Right, but we gotta solve this issue before then, so.
Can you do a daytime meeting? No?
Boy, I ain't making that call again.
I was just asking.
Yeah, please, no daytime
I was
meetings. If
just
we can do it
asking.
from, yeah.
I didn't know if that was an option or not.
It makes it very hard on us and our.
Can all you guys be here next Monday night?
I can.
You good?
We get straight noon.
Are you texting or do I need to?
I'm texting.
Okay, you got it. Okay.
Tom, can you be here? I know. There you go.
We'll have the creeks don't rise.
That's it.
Alright.
So let's see.
Hopefully she, so, I'm gonna make a motion that we table this budget and we hold a special meeting Monday the 17th
At 6 P.M.
at 6 p.m.
Monday the 17th at 6 P.M. budget meeting.
You good with that?
Yeah. That was good.
Alright. Let's go on to the next one. Department of Human Resources,
Nothing to report.
no action. 19A, Paycom, consideration and possible approval, denial, amendment, revision, or the acceptance of Paycom payroll, HR, as of July 1st, 2025, with stipulation of no longer paying employees 50/50 from municipal general funds.
So what that means is, and I've kind of already started it, again, per the auditor's advice. The people who work in their departments get paid from their department, meaning Patrick and I get paid from general, Jamie, David, and Hunter get paid from municipal. Nothing complicated about it. They work for the municipal department, they get paid from the municipal department. Patrick gets chosen for general because he generally works for everybody. He helps every department. So that's what that 50/50 no longer being is. If we go with Paycom, paycheck, or when I work, all of them say, if you do 50/50, you have to pay double because you're paying per employee, per department. So on that end, we might as well pay from the proper department one time. I did get a contract, I had it checked by Tom, everything seems to be legal with it. There has been a concern of how expensive Paycom is, it happens to be the cheapest, and the proposal is with you, I have it as well. And everybody understands that we have to choose a new payroll system, correct? Everybody understands that the system we're using, he is retiring and taking it with him. That's happening in 25. So I am not pushing for this to happen right now, but I would like to have something in place so that when it comes closer, I would like to start in July of 25 if I can. The reason for that is the way payroll is set up. It also helps us to continue with who we're with until we have to basically move.
So what would your due date for us to pass this be? I mean, like,
You know, May, I gotta have time to sign contracts, get this solid, and here's the thing, we have this is our contract now, we roll into another year for Paycom, it could change.
yeah,
But what I don't want is to start paying Paycom and not use them.
yeah.
So my plan was to get with Tom and find a good path to get on to see what we can do. I'm not opposed to looking as well next year to see if something else has come up, another company has come up, somebody's lowered their prices. I'm staying with it. So if you wanna approve it, that's great. I would like to have it because I'd like to lock them in some way without having to pay them yet. In other words, if I can get them to let us do a contract contingent to start on a different day, I wanna do that simply because they've given us a really good deal. On here, they have, for payroll, the total would be $392.09 a month. That's for everybody. Right now, we're paying $500 and something a month. So I felt like if I can get them to lock into that and start later, I would try to do that, but I can't even do that without a go-ahead to try to do that.
Yeah.
But I know there's
I don't know if
been
you need a motion for a go-ahead, though, correct?
yeah, because it's a contract. That's why I thought it was.
I think you can see if they'll do that, and then they can.
And then do the go-ahead?
Yeah.
Okay. I can do it that way too. But I did want to put to rest that chatter as to, this is not what some would consider resourcing out. Are we clear that it's, to resource out means I'm handing it over to some other company and they're doing it. That's not the case with any of these. I still have to be present, I still have to okay the time and things that the employees are doing. HR-wise, I still have to approve what they're doing. So it's not a matter of me not being here for this.
There's something I'd like to add as well, on the technical side, while the sidewalk's being rolled up in 2025 for the current solution we're using, the original developer of the software with that company is a lot less responsive if there's questions on the technical side.
Put out the door.
And we really just need to make sure that what we're using is supported, especially because the way that that software was coded is like 1990s era in terms of code structuring. And so you really need someone supporting that legacy stuff because there's not a lot out there. We dealt with that in the gas industry with an old system called Infinetics, and when those guys disengaged, we couldn't maintenance it or do anything, and it was a nightmare.
Let me give you a real example of what he's talking about, and I have Teresa to prove it. I was trying to do the 941s that we're supposed to do with the Schedule B. What that is
Not
IRS.
the 941.
I know. With the IRS, as you know, I'm having to go back to the person before me that didn't do them. This is what this whole, how much are we gonna have to pay comes into play in hard numbers. I was looking on this system that we use, because you should be able to go on there and just print it off and use the numbers, fill out the forms, send it in. The numbers were exactly the same for 2 years. 2 separate years had the exact same numbers, so there's no way this system is correct. There's no way I can get the numbers correct, which is where the auditor is coming from. First of all, we're gonna have penalties because this system is wrong. And what was reported when she did report was wrong. When I found this out, I pulled Teresa in just to see if I was missing something, get that second set of eyes. It was the same, was it not? For 2 separate years had the exact same numbers for me to report. So what that means is I have to go back now, try to find the missing pay periods and figure out the math. Or hit and miss, get it close. But I do know that the IRS will work with me no matter what amount we're gonna have to owe, they will work with me. They will give me a payment plan or they will cut me a deal because we're a small municipality. So with that said, what he's talking about is a real fact right now. Right now I'm having to spend tons of time. Wednesday is my deadline to get some of that all caught up and sent in, and I can't get the numbers to balance out. Why? Because I don't have all the data, don't have all the math equation there.
Sure, glad
So
you're
I'm
sorry.
sending in what I can with whatever totals I've got, and I'm hoping they'll look at it and say, okay, this is off.
Now, I will say from a software standpoint, and business standpoint, Paycom is solid, so if the price point fits, fully recommend them, and of course, they're just here in Oklahoma City, so they're local.
Yeah, at least they're not Washington or California.
Well, and I wanna be,
Right.
and I wanna be frank, from the time some of us first got on this board, we knew right away, I mean, like almost instantly, like, when I sat in my first meeting and I started having, it was like, what in the heck, I mean, it was like 1970, and we knew that, and there were initial conversations right away that like, we knew we were gonna have to invest in some softwares and do things to bring us up to date. I have dealt with Paycom in the past, they're nice, the apps are nice, the user, you know, end user part of it's all nice. There's nothing that I've ever been a part of when dealing with them, I think maybe 3 years or so, I dealt with them, no issues, but this is an investment at the end of the day, like, to make sure the checks and balances are in place, the stuff being paid on time, the data's correct, it works with our software, I mean, it all has to be done.
And
but-
for me, if you look on here, it has federal electronic tax depositing, 941 included. We're not even paying extra for this company to fix what's been going on.
Yeah.
So that's one of my big selling points for Paycom. If you only knew, But 941 quarterly filings, those are included. So what happens is, when we do payroll, you take out federal taxes. I take that total and I pay online in a portal for IRS what we've taken out. I pay them. So what this is it has two separate 941s because literally you're doing it every time. So they're saying they're going to file those on an individual payroll day, and then at the end of the quarter, we should come out equal. We should come out zero on that end of quarter filing. Right now, we're not. So we'll figure it out, but this company is willing to include it rather than a lot of companies, each individual thing, they wanna add a time. You know, they wanna add a fee because they're probably paying another employee to do just that.
So, let's get them on the hook. Represent it, say, hey, this is where they're at, we can get our set date when we want our set date, and we'll vote on it.
Okay, I can do that.
Hey, I have I'm sorry, forgive me if I missed the answers to this. I'm gonna go ahead and ask it again, cause I told her I would. I have a question from someone, and they wanted to, I told them I would read it verbatim. I went to the last special meeting where the board asked all the department to cut their budget by 30%. So my question is, why does the town need to pay Paycom to run payroll when it has always been the town clerk? Paycom is expensive, and I don't understand why the need to outsource it.
Because Paycom is cheaper than what was being used previously.
And it's not outsourcing.
Yeah, it sounds like they've already got a system that's going out of date. They have to update the
We
system.
have no option. We have no choice.
Jack Brown, GHS, the system we're using. Paycom is not more expensive.
He's retired.
And it's not outsourcing, because I still have to give them the data.
Okay, that's not me asking.
Yeah.
I'm
Same
seriously,
thing.
but that's the answer.
I'm recording question for her.
It's the same thing, cheaper
What
also.
the answer is.
Yeah, thank you.
And isn't expiring.
Much better service.
Yes, much better service and not expiring.
It's more all-inclusive rather than just a software solution, so the town will give them a lot of value if they go with what's been proposed.
Thank you, guys.
Table, Department of Union City Payroll, no action.
Nope, nothing to report there.
21, Department of Union City Court Clerk.
My turn. You have the list of all the late fees that I added, that you asked for. It totals $644.08. And then the spreadsheet also shows you when those were paid, and if they weren't paid, who got cut off.
Sorry, I'm still trying to make my way through Paycom. There we go.
Also, when it comes to bulk water, we are not billing Canadian County for bulk water right now due to an agreement that was made. I haven't seen the agreement, so I don't know who approved that. But we're missing out on over $21,000 in bulk water for not
I've never heard
billing
this
them.
brought up before. Why would Canadian County be getting water from us?
It's Canadian County District 2, I think,
Not $21,000 for Sandy County.
Oh, I'm sorry, that's what I billed out. I apologize.
I like y'all.
I'm so sorry. I apologize. $1,000 $320 is what we're missing out by not billing Canadian County.
What's that agreement, Tom? Do you remember, or Teresa, does anybody who's
Is
been
there
there a long time remember?
anyone that made that agreement?
I don't remember that.
I don't, that's just something I've always been told, there was an agreement with the county and, us on their water, so,
That
have I
they
seen
wouldn't,
on my eyeball?
that they wouldn't pay every month?
That we don't charge them because it's our roads. They only use it for our roads. That's what I was told. So,
Can we reach out to David Anderson and see if we can get a copy of that agreement?
Exactly.
I believe it was brought on a case by case, depending on what project he was working on, the best I can remember, in years, anything like that.
I mean, it's one thing if we're making our own water, but it's really hard for us to give water away when we're paying cash for that water. And they're paid to care for our roads, we are not paid to care for our roads.
Yeah.
So we need to better understand that.
I've never
I
seen
do
anything
know a
I
couple.
just questioned it before,
Yeah, I've not seen anything about it.
Alright, we'll dig into that. Continue to look for those types of things, that's the kind of stuff that we need to learn about.
Yeah, if there's something to be found, I'm gonna find it. If you have any questions, I'll answer whatever you got. I don't have anything else to report.
He's learned a whole lot recently, I'll just say. He's working hard. He's doing a really good job.
Ms. Dixie, we thought we got the barrier.
He's kinda got thrown into the lion's den, and
Yeah.
he's doing okay. I'm proud of him.
She's doing better than I was. I just sit there about
Is anybody here to speak on the water?
No, nope. I like the rural company.
Huh?
I really like the rural company.
I'm just saying, a lot of people said they were gonna be here tonight to
Yeah.
talk about the water.
There was gonna be a lot.
Can we get town swimming pool?
No, having to pay your bill.
And the fire department is also taking applications too, and the planning commission.
Absolutely. All right, let's move on. Number 19, Mayor and Trustee reports. I don't really have anything, do y'all?
Absolutely not.
Starving.
I have new business.
As mayor, you know, I want y'all to know that I'm trying as hard as I can to get you to dinner.
I need to know real quick if we can donate 8 hours vacation to Jamie so she can also take Friday off. And we can,
The reason they're asking that is because I cannot use what I've accrued due to my
When you say donate, like the other employees want to donate to her?
I have an employee that wants to donate 8 hours vacation to Jamie so she can be gone on Fridays with Teresa and I gone. So we can close the office at our own.
I offered to do it,
You know.
Do we need to do
But
anything
you
on
want
that?
to do it under new business?
No, I think mine.
I can.
We need to do this now, or we have a special meeting.
So this give me a thing, but I have no problem with it.
All right, number 23,
No,
we have
hold on,
Ryan Dawson.
Make sure everybody knows that it's Big Trash Week, anybody that's on a meter can put their trash at the corner and they will pick everything up on Saturday.
I've got some business. Well, out there at the corner of Banner Road and 152, there's a place that's zone residential, and the grass is beyond 12 inches. Can we get code enforcement to go out there and take a look at that tomorrow morning? And go ahead and send the letter.
Do they get one ticket or $150?
$100 a day.
They have to be warned, they have to be warned first.
Well, we're warning them on my paper.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Wait, I have one more thing.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Ferguson?
Yes, ma'am.
Clarification, all of the trustees, they have to be, I'm gonna look for the thing. Each of the trustees shall be a qualified elector for the town. That means they have to be able to vote in the town.
A resident of this
It's
town.
not a resident, it's
I
an
understand
elector.
that, but the residency requirement is the electoral.
They have to be able
Yes.
to vote as part of our town.
I vote
Raise your hand if you vote in Union City.
So, Mr. Quigley, where is your residence?
6434 Cherokee.
No, it isn't, that's your business.
He has a residence there as well.
And he also votes in Union City.
Okay, well, that is a business residence over there, and you have another residence in Mustang.
Also have one in Lakeview Falls and.
You have one in Mustang,
And
correct?
Lake Eufaula, and
You
there
have
are
one in
people,
Mustang.
there are people with multiple residencies.
Sir, do you have a residence that you live in
I
Mustang?
have 4 residents, yes, I'm paying all of them.
Do you realize that Tom Cole does not live in Moore, Oklahoma, and his address is in Moore, Oklahoma?
What I'm saying is, we're a
Tom Cole
small
has
town,
multiple-
we're a small town.
Correct.
And I believe Mr. Quigley lives in Mustang. He has a very nice home there.
Yes.
And he has a business address that is a barn over here in Union City
Also
area.
have a house.
There's a house there as well. There are people,
I
there are a lot
bet
of people that have,
it is a business residence.
well, that's your opinion, but.
Well,
Can you ask what address
more
is
than a
on his
business.
driver's license? Not that you don't need to show it, but.
I've got my voter ID out there.
Yeah.
You have
I
a voter
presented my
ID.
voter ID to the board.
Have one cop pull him over and check his insurance registration. Real simple.
Well, I think this is a point of contention, and I definitely will bring it up in the next election. I will definitely do it.
Well,
Because, sir, there's a lot of people that have businesses in Union City, and applaud them for that, but they're not residents here. And I don't believe that you truly reside in Union City. I think
well, I
you
reside
want
in
to,
both places, I just stay out there.
His
some,
grandkids attend
and I
Union City
stay-
School, he donates to Union City Schools, I mean, he's as much
My
as
sales
involved in
tax
this,
comes
he's
to
more
the
involved in
town.
this community than I am. And I'm pretty
The
engaged.
reality of this is, before he was brought onto this board, all of those questions were asked.
And they were all taken to,
And they were all taken through the court system. Is it right? Is it correct? Yes, it was.
really,
Absolutely.
yeah, I just recently learned that, for instance, Tom Cole does not live in Oklahoma, he has a residence here. I don't know if you recently heard, but there's the guy who's running against him.
I have,
Is
I have.
from Texas
But I
and lives there.
absolutely think that this needs to be a point of clarification in Union City.
It's very clear, you have to be an elector at the Canadian County Elector's
I
Office
don't
with.
believe that somebody that lives in a room part of the time and brings his kids into Union City that normally live in Mustang, that he drives them into Union City so that they can be transported to a school, that qualifies. I think that is somebody that
Any
is
kid can go to
jumping.
school at any school as long as he transfers.
I
That, like,
truly-
times have changed.
I
This
think
isn't 1970
This is
anymore.
apples and oranges, and I truly believe that we need to be more transparent about the people that are sitting up there and claiming to be Union City residents and belonging to this community. Absolutely. And you know.
Maybe motion to approve.
Yep, I make a motion to adjourn. All those in favor? Oh, I need a second. Second. All those in favor? Aye. That's what. That's one. I got 6 houses, I never heard all of them.